Oh,
get this popping. Well, we're on Periscope, so I ain't on YouTube or anything. I decided to go Periscope with this. I was like, if somebody sees it on Twitter, fine. If they don't, whatever and stuff, I think it's one of those conversations that I'd rather just upload the video on YouTube versus doing it live where nobody's going to really give a shit. So, it's easier that way. But yeah, so for those that are watching, that are going to watch, so we, in our private Facebook chat, we have been talking at length since last year, Lucas? Or maybe the year before? We might have been talking every once in a while. Like, I would say at least 3-4 times out of the year we talk about it.
For an extremely long time.
And we were talking about the movie-going experience, and I would say even longer than that, a lot of people, they kind of hate the movie-going experience and what encompasses the movie-going experience and stuff like that. So with COVID-19 being what it is, a lot of studios, I would say since back in March when The Invisible Man, I think The Hunt got released on Premium VOD, a lot of people were like, well, I guess this could be the future. And I remember you specifically said, yeah, for smaller movies, which makes total sense, but not for big tentpole movies. And Mulan, during Disney's quarterly earnings meeting today, they just dropped the news that it's going on Disney Plus for $29.99. I don't know how long they're going to run that for before it actually comes onto the streaming proper, but it caused a lot of what I predicted was going to happen, where people were going to buck hard on the price, and I'm like, I knew it. And figure we talk about it and stuff and what this means for the future and stuff, because Disney is saying this is a one-time thing, and I'm like, I don't know, Disney, this looks like you're testing the waters here. I don't know, but I figured we all talk about it and stuff. So for you, Sam, what was your kind of like thoughts on this whole thing when it dropped?
Yeah, going back to even like the Invisible Man situation, because I was one of those ones that was really excited to see the Invisible Man. We didn't get a chance to do like a press screening for it in the DMV area. And so it was kind of like, I got to see this movie. And me and my wife were like, all right, bet, we're going to look at it. And I told wife, I was like, look, this is going to be like $24 or $20, I can't remember, it was like $24 or something like that to rent it. And I was like, I have this feeling that it's going to be good enough that I'm going to probably buy it. But it's kind of like, it's weird because I'm like, normally for a Blu-ray, you're going to pay like, at max $24.
Blu-ray, it's like Blu-ray goes for like $25.
Yeah. But I'm like, dang, I'm paying for it. But I was like, you know what? What else are we going to do? There's no other way. I'm not going to a movie anywhere anytime soon. So we bought it. We loved it. I think I rented it again. But after that, I never bought it. So with this whole situation going on with Mulan, I know Lucas and me have been going back and forth and talking about, like, in theory, what is Disney going to do? Like, what is going to happen with the market in terms of like the United States versus the international market? I understood, a lot of people overseas were like, you know what, we can just check it out and see it. But I really am not surprised that this happened. I am curious to see where it's going to go more than anything else. Like, I don't know if this will take off. Come September 4th, if people will be like, you know what, I've been waiting for this. Like, it's better than me going and spending you say you got 3 kids, kids, popcorn, food. You're going to drop about 60 bones or more if you have more than 2 kids anyway. So it's like for $30, or maybe even if it's like $40, you're still going off cheaper because you can watch it more times than you want to, and you can technically invite more people if you are bold enough to do it. So it's kind of like, in the end all be all, it makes sense. But whether or not the consumers are going to go for it, that's the thing that I think that is worth talking about and figuring out, where is this going? You know what I mean? Because now at this point, I know you guys are going to talk about it. Tenet. What's going to happen with Tenet? And I think that Lucas has a very interesting thought process when it comes to movies like Tenet or Dune or anything else that's kind of like big, that's meant for the theatrical experience, but also could make a big amount of money on the box office. So I think it's going to be a really good, engaging conversation, but I really don't know. I'm curious more so than anything.
So Lucas, since you're the, you're Doctor Strange of this group, you just predicted this whole possibility. I'm just saying. And what? It's funny. It's like this. It's not to say that we doubt you in the group. It's just kind of like our optimism is like, I don't know if it's going to go that way. And it's like, fuck, it went that way. Damn it. It's like, so, I mean, I'm pretty sure you were Nostradamus. I mean, what was your thoughts on this when it dropped?
You know what? When it came out, especially around the earning call, the first thing I thought was, wow, that's a September release. That's about, what, a good 6 weeks away from that Verizon deal being up for Disney and them needing to hold on to those subscribers who will automatically leave that service when they have to pay for it.
Yep.
And Mulan is that movie for them to do that with, especially since Mulan is ice cold right now in the term of movies and releases. Like Tenet has been in the forefront for the last 2 months, we would say. That everybody's been talking about Tenet, and Mulan has been the afterthought. And the sad part for Disney was it's an afterthought that they're probably already 350 to 400 mil in a hole for, because before this virus hit, like they're almost done their promotional run for Mulan.
Oh, that was a Billy easily for them, easily.
Yeah. And then they had to delay it. And right now they need content on Disney Plus. So when we get the news that Mulan's dropping, I said, oh, that makes sense because they need entertainment on the network. And I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago when we were talking about, well, if they set up a premium VOD model, what would you follow by? Normally it's whatever the average ticket price is times 4, and that's how you get your number. And Disney went a little cheaper, I thought. And then I had realized when they said that it's what, $29.99?
Yeah, $29.99
to get it from Disney Plus. But normally to get it from Disney Plus, you have to have a Disney Plus membership.
Exactly.
That's $6.99. So it's right in the area. I think I said what, $34.99 when we were talking?
Yeah, just about.
$34.99 would be the price you would sell one of these movies for.
And you got 60 million plus subscribers according to that earning call too. So
yeah, so they are hoping for something big. And granted, I mean,
it
Sam
could
did it with Invisible Man because Sam is a very, very honest, legit person, and he rented it. People are going to steal Mulan the day it drops. They are going to explode the day Mulan drops.
Hold up, you cutting out a little bit. Hold up. Okay, now you're good. I think you're good. All right, you're good now. You're good.
You good now?
We're good.
Cool.
Yeah, you're good.
Torrent sites are going to explode the day Mulan drops. And the reason it's going to explode when Mulan drops is because, again, this is a model that actually doesn't make much sense to do on Disney Plus. They're doing it to advertise Disney Plus instead of doing it the way Trolls did it or the way Scoob did it by putting it everywhere for this price. Because I think from the news, they did not say this is going to be available on like Amazon or on cable networks. None. They saying Disney Plus is where you get this movie from. So it is clear that they're only advertising this as a Disney Plus exclusive. That's not going to work, especially a premium exclusive. It showed to us the financial issue that Disney is in right now, that they had to do.
Because I think it was this.
Because if we look at other movies that cost this much money, and that a certain other streaming studio has even drained this much money in marketing, it's on their service that day, and they don't care. They just drop it.
Yeah,
clearly we talk about Netflix.
Yeah.
Because Irishman's budget all around the board was bigger than Mulan's budget, including its marketing.
It's bigger than Mulan and Black Widow's budget combined.
The Last Guard had a budget over 150.
Yeah,
like Netflix routinely does this, but Disney cannot. Disney cannot sustain their big films just dropping like this on a streaming service. That's why I always said this is not the future. This right here is temporary. We need to recoup something from Mulan because, again, audiences no longer care for it. It's a family film. I think Sam made a great point. All that stuff you spend to take your family to the theaters,
it's cut in half.
Most families aren't going to the theaters right now. They're like, nah, I'm not taking my children to the theaters. This isn't Tenet. Tenet is going to have that 18 to 35-year-old crowd go to the theater and not care because that's what they want to see.
That's $60 cutting. That $60 price point that Sam said, that's cut in half now. It's like, oh shit, my kid, we got food at home. All right, I'll order $30 for Mulan. All right, cool. And so to me, it's like, you know, I sat there and saw people. And it really comes down to this. Mulan is a family film. Now, granted, you're not going to get Mushu the Dragon. It's a Chinese epic movie, so that's already there.
I don't want to see it because Mushu's not in it.
Yeah. So to me, it's like this. Family people are going to go see it, right? But I sat there and pointed out, all right, if you guys are bucking hard on $30, you guys are saying you'll pay $30 for Black Widow, you're full of shit because you're not going to pay $30 for Black Widow. You know full and well, if you're bucking on this, you're not going to pay $30 for Black Widow. Why lie to yourself? Come on, you're going to bootleg it. You're going to bootleg it like other people that aren't going to pay the $30 do it. I would rather you just tell the truth on yourself and just say, hey, I'm going to bootleg it. You know, I respect it. Get your Cody, do what you got to do, whatever. Because, hell, The Invisible Man popped up on bootlegs. It dropped that Friday. Saturday morning, it was up on the illegal download sites.
Saturday morning? Friday at 12:02.
Hey, look! I got up Saturday morning, and I just happened to go on the site. I'm like, oh, Invisible Man's on there, and it's the actual copy. And I'm like, yep, there you go.
But we've seen it. It happened with every film that every studio dropped this way during this quarantine period. Every one of them.
The Hunt, and granted,
exactly.
I mean, granted, Invisible Man made his money back anyway because it was in theaters for like a month at that point, right?
I think that's the key part of it, and that's why the business model is not proven to actually work.
Yeah.
All we hear is, wow, Trolls made $100 million. But what we never hear is that, wow, Trolls cost $100 million to make.
So they broke even?
So they broke even. Now, matter of fact, no, because that still didn't account for the marketing costs for Trolls.
So they didn't break even.
They made their production budget back, possibly. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not a model.
They didn't take a loss. They didn't take a huge loss.
Yeah, they took a huge loss, but they took a loss. It's like, all right.
Yeah, so if y'all waiting for Black Widow to drop on a streaming service, you better hold your breath.
Hey, look, the best
movie back to 2022 if they had
the best thing I didn't know about, and I completely forgot. I think you might have talked about it too, Lucas. Was when the New Mutants, I think the director came out. No, not the director. I think the studio was like, well, hold on. The reason why we're not putting New Mutants on Disney Plus is because we have a deal with theaters. We can't just throw it on VOD off rip. Mm-hmm. We have a deal with them, so we can't do that. And I was like, oh, that's why Black Widow's probably not going to hit VOD because they had actually no, they were already locked and loaded before this coronavirus even popped off, weren't they? Pretty much.
Yeah, everything was kind of done. Like this, make no mistake about it. Disney talked to AMC and Cinemark before they made this decision to put Mulan on
because they didn't have anything on lock for Mulan at that point though.
They removed it from the calendar, and 9 times out of 10 Disney told them, well, we still got New Mutants and we still have Black Widow on the calendar for you all, but we can't hold Mulan at this point. We needed to come out because we're losing too much money. Because normally when this happened with Comcast and they did this with Trolls, we saw immediate backlash from the movie theaters. The movie theaters have said nothing.
They said about
this movie. That means Disney went to them. Disney's either giving them a piece of the money, or they went with them and cut a deal with them and said, this will be the only film that you all really wanted that ever will drop on our service like this.
So
nobody wanted Artemis Fowl. Nobody wanted Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, but it's one big thing that it's like a little weird about this situation. Now, based on what they've said, based on what I've read, that this is going to be $29.99, but it's only going to be through Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. On the Disney Plus streaming service, there's nothing that you can actually buy on the Disney Plus streaming service. The reason why I'm framing this a certain kind of way now.
It's testing the waters.
So I'm saying that it seems like there's 2 specific reasons for this. One, which the obvious elephant in the room is to test the waters. You're not gonna sit there and like, oh, we got this one thing that you can spend this random little bubble to the top, $29.99, to buy this, and you get to, watch it as is or whatever. But I think that there's another part of this that I'm curious is your guys' opinion about. If they're not releasing this on VOD, if they're not releasing this on other streaming services, just on Disney Plus, what kind of encryption, what kind of like blocking is Disney doing for this in the way that it's coming out? The reason why I asked that is because they really could have put it on VOD. They really could have put it somewhere else. And I'm wondering how they are blueprinting and watermarking the way that this is being distributed out. There's some kind of catch to this because it just doesn't add up. I'm not saying that they're not bleeding money. I'm not saying they don't need this, but there's a certain tactic to why they're doing this specifically on their Disney Plus app. And I'm really curious how this is going to go. The reason why I asked is because there are certain things that you can kind of do when looking at stuff online, like on like a certain person's website or a certain person's like encrypted space. Like movie directors go and send out screenings for stuff that only certain people can be able to watch with a specific password and whatnot. And I'm just curious to see if it's going to be something like that, where it's like, okay, you go and you buy this, but if you distribute this to somebody else, I can ping and know exactly who has it. I'm really curious to see if they're going to go through these kind of links with Mulan. I feel like it's a testing table for sure, but there's a connection side of this from the technological side of it with how they're framing this. But I'm curious, you guys, like, do you think that they're doing this also to limit the stealing, the blocking, what they're going to eventually do, which is steal the movie?
I mean, it's going to happen anyway.
No matter what.
I mean, hell, The Mandalorian is on bootleg sites already, so there's obviously something where people are actually able to download the product and stuff. So I can already see Mulan dropping on whatever Cody's or whatever that day that it drops. Probably like by the end of the day, it'll probably be up on there. So I don't know what you would have to do in order to block that stuff. Watermark it. I don't know. It's kind of a tough call on that one. Like I said, I think they are testing. I think they are testing the waters for some of their lesser known stuff because, I can't imagine if they try to dare charge people to watch Artemis Fowl. I'm like, I'm not paying money for Artemis Fowl. No. I'm not paying VOD for that. But hell no. I saw it. I'm like, yeah, that movie would have lost money in theaters easily.
It's not. I'll take what Sam said and take it further. Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily a testing ground to see if they have software that will stop something because they kind of know you don't. Because even on critic screeners, it's really dependent on the person who gets the screener not to share the information. I remember years upon years ago, some people I know, that's the way I'm gonna put this. Some people I know used to get access to screeners out the blue when they started coming out. Like it's a known thing, and you're not going to depend on other people to hold.
Django Unchained. Django Unchained was on the Oscar screener for Django Unchained because it was just nothing but crappy copies of it. I'm not even joking. When it was like up for a nomination, it hit the fucking bootleg sites immediately, and you saw the for your consideration. So I'm like, oh, somebody had the screener for it and just uploaded it right.
And then they took off their watermark. They took off their name to keep it on there. But to me, what they're doing is testing out a theory. And that theory is what happens if we make extreme premium content for Disney Plus. Will people pay for it if we drop it on Disney Plus?
And also adjust the price how they see fit.
That's what the test is for them right now. Again, as we use the Netflix model, if you see the amount of money Netflix spends on films and drops them on the service, we all know the debt technically that Netflix is currently in. Disney can't absorb that debt. What happens if we make premium content, premium movie content, and say we're going to drop it right on our streaming service? Will people pay for it? And how many people can we get to pay for it without taking anything away from our films that will be part of the theater experience? I think that's the test right now for them, because I think they want to make other films that are not made for theaters that drop just on Disney Plus, but they want people to pay for it.
And I think people will do it if they know full and well they can. If they know full and well, especially I think the family movies will probably fare better than like your big Hollywood blockbusters, because I think, like I said, Mulan being a family film, to the average parent, they're like, "Oh, I can save some money."
You're not getting a Pixar film done this.
Oh hell no.
You'll get like a Disney cartoon, something like that just in all, like if they feel if we spend 100 to 150 million on a film, why should we just drop it on a streaming service and not try to get money off the back end, which would be charging you money. Now you won't charge the price Mulan costs, but let's say if I make a move for 150 million and I charge you $14.99 to view it on Disney Plus.
And Disney gets 100% of the profits.
And that's the other thing. If you put it on other VOD services, those services have to get a piece of the money. This way, Disney gets everything for Mulan because they need everything for Mulan.
And I mean,
the information of the subscriber numbers, their earning call was not good today, and they know it. So they like, we need all.
And it's not just them. There's a lot of other companies that are hurting. Like, because beyond just the movies and stuff, their theme parks, which I'm not going to go into, but from a lot of people that I follow that talk about their theme parks, the theme parks ain't doing too hot, and it's mainly on the aspect that there's nobody's buying the family packages, which is their big thing and stuff. Because nobody who's gonna go? What family is gonna go to Disney World? Especially with the way COVID is. There's no live shows. There's none of the stuff that gets people going there and stuff. I think Disneyland in California is doing a little bit better than Disney World, but I mean, you can go to Disneyland anytime. You know,
the issue is Disney, unlike every other major studio, Disney is closer to a brick and mortar company because Sony made $230 million some dollars during this earning period. Warner Brothers made money, but Comcast made all of these companies made money because they're technically tech companies that bought film studios.
Yeah,
it's not that. Disney really depends on parks. They really depend on the movie going experience to make their money. That's why it's been so interesting that the rumors of Apple buying Disney, because Disney clearly is going to be on the block and everyone knows it eventually because their business model is not set up to survive something like
that. And it's not like Apple. I mean, I think Apple is going to probably do what Disney did with Marvel, where it's like, well, Disney, we'll let you do your thing. We'll make some adjustments, but we're not going to interfere in what you guys do.
You don't know Apple.
No, I don't think, put it this way, I don't think Apple is going to go, I don't think they're going to run wild with it like we think they are, but they are going to be throwing some input here and there on some stuff. I think and I think it's going to be mainly, and I think it's going to be mainly on the theme park shit. More so than anything. Like the stuff with streaming and the movies, I don't think they're gonna really have hands on. But the theme parks, they're gonna definitely be like, yeah, you might want to not do this. Let's shut this down. Let's not do this.
So I don't know if they won't get hands on because Apple has their own Apple TV Plus streaming service. Like they're creating original content, so if they can make a merger and make a play to this,
Jesus,
you can best believe. They will.
No, but not to like telling them, okay, we can't do this. It's like, oh yeah, if they merge, it'll be like a fucking gargantuan.
No. Apple will give you 3 years. They'll give you 3 years, and then they will absorb into everything and not give you options anymore. But that's what successful businesses do. That's how you survive. But again, Disney right now is just doing what every company in this pandemic is attempting to do, and that is finding a way to survive. No. If you got to drop Mulan, you're not going to drop any MCU project. So people, if you thought that was going to happen,
no,
don't worry about it. It's not going to happen. Mulan is the only one they're going to do this to, and that's just because the original release date for Mulan was March.
Yep,
like
right when the pandemic happened, it was like
they have been holding on to this movie for the longest.
I can see Black Widow making this November though easily. I can see that.
Well, Black Widow has a huge film in front of it. That's the key part with Black Widow. Black Widow is not the test. Wonder Woman is the test.
Oh, Wonder Woman will probably do fine.
No, I mean it's the test because Warner Brothers still has it set on October release.
Yep.
Oh shit.
So with the October release for Wonder Woman, Black Widow is like if Wonder Woman gets pulled off, they're playing the same game with Black Widow that they played with Mulan and Tenet. The difference was Mulan was starting to get ice cold and they had to move it. And Tenet was itself. Black Widow got time, and it's an MCU film. You're not going to worry about it.
Tenet's in the same boat because Tenet is highly anticipated. It's a Nolan movie. Like as much as people are complaining about Warner Brothers, like come on, Warner Brothers, put on VOD. I'm like, no, because Nolan knows full well Nolan knows that he has a huge movie on his hands, and it would be suicide to throw that movie on VOD. It would. Like I said, if you bucking hard on $29.99 for that, if they charge $29.99 for Tenet, you know how many people will buck hard on that? Like, come on. Like, come on.
How many people are bucking hard on paying $16.99 for 4K content on Netflix? You got to realize people actually don't want to pay for it. They just wanted to drop on the streaming service so they can find another way to get the entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. That's it.
Oh no, I see the jig. I already saw the jig already with that. So that's
And Disney, in all honesty, Disney has been extremely consistent during this pandemic on how they drop stuff. You got Artemis Fowl cost them $150 million to make. Granted, it was going to flop, but they dropped that on Disney Plus. Then they turned right around and they paid $70 million for the rights to Hamilton, which they wanted in theaters. What did they do? Drop it on the streaming service because
they got a lot of people buying it, and then you drop Beyonce, and you got everybody the Beyonce shit.
And then you got Ivan and the One, which was another film set for release, and they're like, no, put it on the service. Like, we gotta put content on this service.
Content is king.
Warner Brothers, if you look at it, they have not done it with anything. Scoob came out before HBO Max dropped. And they was like, we're gonna make money off Scoob because that's how much we normally pay for Scooby-Doo movie that we drop anyway.
Yeah, I mean, because the thing of it is, even for me, when they announced Scoob, I in my head I already knew off Rick, but I was like, yeah, it'll probably do decent, but it ain't gonna be blowing up the fucking box office or anything. It's just gonna be like,
exactly. All the other studios are holding on to movies. They're like, nah, we can. But Universal was the first one. They pushed all their movies back to 2021 at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yep.
And they have a streaming service. Yeah. It's clearly their streaming service. And they say,
somebody said it best. It's like, yo, they still have not released their big guns. They're like, no, we're gonna wait till 2021. We're good.
I mean, that's what everybody should do here. I mean, if you're a lover of the theater experience, be patient. If you're a lover of the home theater experience, you're going to get content. You're going to get certain movies really small that they never intended to really want to release in theaters anyway. They're going to give you them.
Yeah. I mean, do y'all guys think that honestly, like going forward, right, it's going to be kind of like, because, you know, once this pandemic gets to a point where people are going to feel safe, I guess, going to theaters and stuff, do you see theaters trying to like maybe up their prices in order to make up for what they lost this year?
Let Sam go on that one.
Because so you're saying in 2021 theaters,
let's say they up ticket prices and maybe up concession prices to make up what they lost in 2020.
I mean, I think that they're inevitably are going to do that because they also are going to have to employ different staffing and different protocols and procedures to make sure the security and the maintenance is done for each one of the theaters anyway. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's going to happen in 2021. The bigger question to me is whether or not people will go for that or not. I mean, we've talked about this. I've been wanting to have this conversation. Is like, where are people's allegiances lying at this point? Like, where do people really want to go? Like, do they really want to go into a theater? I think people love going around with friends and family and watching and immersing themselves into a theater. But then I know a good amount of people is like, yo, I don't want to go in here and spend this amount of money. Yo, I'm going to sneak my, Bojangles or Chick-fil-A up in the theater so I ain't got to pay this kind of money for concession.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's hard because I know a good amount of people that really want to see Tenet in the theater, and they'll see it tomorrow if it was available. But then I know a good amount of people. It's like, yeah, I'll wait for that joint till next year when it come out on Blu-ray and DVD or VOD. Like, it's weird. I just don't know if that happens, where are people's allegiances going to lie. And I was going to ask you guys specifically about Disney because Soul was supposed to come out in November by Pixar. Mm-hmm. Now, do you guys think that Soul is they're gonna keep it as is where it's at right now, or do you think that they're gonna go and pull the same exact thing that they're doing with Mulan with Soul, and kind of having it where like you can pay for Soul? I'm kind of inclined to believe not because they didn't do that with Onward, but at the same time, Onward, I don't know. I'm not gonna say it was critically. I'm not gonna go there. I'm just curious. What do you guys think? What they're gonna do?
They're gonna sit on Soul. I think because like Lucas said, it's a Pixar. That would be now. Put it this way: if they did release Soul, they might just pull a Mulan and be like, all right, we're gonna charge you $30 for Soul.
And I would do that. I would do that in a second.
Soul would be $49.99.
I bet you know what? Look, I would say this. This doesn't sound bad, but I would
say, that's what I'm saying. It's a family film, and most families will sit there and be like, I can rationalize paying $50. All right, kids, come in the living room and watch the Soul. You know,
but because of the amount of time it takes to make a Pixar movie, which is still running 3 to 5 years for one movie, I think they'll hold on to it. They'll be like, you know what, we can't constantly drop stuff on Disney Plus because we're not making money off of it.
Because you're gonna get people used to the idea too, as well.
And 9 times out of 10, as we said earlier, Soul is probably part of the deal they made with theater owners, not to buck with Mulan. You got to sell them on it. You got to sell them on. We have movies down the line that we can replace Mulan with. Don't worry about it. We're hurting like you're hurting. They can sell that. They're not Comcast, who's trying to go behind people's backs to make deals and things of that nature. Disney is like
Comcast is literally Suge Knighting the fuck out of everybody. Come on, man, just come over here.
I think what Comcast is doing is a bigger test than what Disney is doing with Disney Plus. With Comcast attempting to shorten that window and then put it on a premium VOD. Disney charging you on their streaming platforms to buy the stuff. Like, again, we're stuck in weird times where a lot of different people have to come up with strategies to release content to make money.
And it's whichever one catches fire.
However we can do it. I believe the pattern that we may see with Tenet, because I think we always heard the saying, what comes around goes around.
Yeah.
So if we pay attention to what Warner Brothers has lined up for Tenet, that's literally the way films used to be released in the US, where it was city by city. You would drop a film and you would build momentum until it released.
That was like early 90s for indie movies. Like, that was like put them in New York and you get like a basically it was like a short, for those that don't know, for the younger folks. Basically, you get like an indie movie. They'll show it in they'll premiere it in Los Angeles at the Garmin Chinese Theater. Then they'll pop up in New York. You might get lucky in DC. And I think where in Florida did they show it? I know they showed it in Florida somewhere.
Well, it showed that any huge market did it.
So
Star Wars became a hit because of this. Like, this is a proven pattern to do it at.
But the big three was DC, New York, and like LA,
Chicago.
Easily. Yeah, Chicago. I forgot about them too. So
But especially with the international box office, I've been saying for years the international box office was already passing the US.
Yeah.
So what happens is, if you can release it there and make your money and then slowly release it in the US, that seems to be the model for big tentpole films. But Disney needs Warner Brothers to do it first.
It's a game of chicken. Like, all right, who's going to do it first?
And every studio needs to have someone do something before they do it. It's just that Warner Brothers has this psychopath of a director who's already told them, no matter what, this movie's coming out this year, and it's coming out this year in theaters.
Dude, this is almost like
it's rolling off because he will take his services elsewhere.
Dude, this is almost like the comic book business when Image came up, and like their whole business model was like, hey, the creatives should get their money and stuff, and DC and Marvel like whatever, and then Image was like a huge success because of it, and now it's like, oh shit, I guess that's the model now. We can actually, like, every other independent comic company was like, I guess we can follow the Image model and let the creatives get, put out their stuff, and we'll just follow suit and stuff. And I'm thinking this, like you said, this could be the model for this. If it's going to be released internationally, all right, we'll just straggle it on the US and figure it out from there.
If you can make all your money internationally, which for most people that don't know, 75% of movies' box offices come from the international audience. So you take a movie. I know I'm gonna use a huge movie as an example here, but still a good example. If you look at a film like Endgame or Avatar back in the day, Endgame made what, $1.9 billion
internationally.
Internationally was its big win. It wasn't the US. Avatar made still the highest ever, over $2 billion internationally.
Yep.
Like, people understand if your film hits and it hits internationally, it can be bigger.
I mean, how much of a cut do studios get out of that though?
Now listen.
That's what my thing is, because I heard Disney, they actually, like, after everything was said and done, the dust settled on Endgame, they actually made a little bit of a profit off Endgame in the grand scheme of it and stuff.
Hard to make money internationally if
yeah,
it is not a co-production, and that's why I always said Tenet will release international. Tenet is a co-Chinese production with Warner Brothers.
Isn't Mulan the same thing?
Brothers, no.
Oh, okay, I thought it was for a second.
Disney don't do that.
Hey, I thought they did. Hey, Mulan looked like it could have been co-production. I'll be like, oh shit, that's dope, because
most Warner
they
Brothers,
did have
most Warner Brother films are that way, so they get a bigger piece. Sony does the same thing, like especially like with the movie Chris hates. When they released that and it became big in China,
what, Venom?
Yes, it was
See, it's less hate, Lucas. It's less hate, Lucas, and more like disdain. Like,
it was like a 50-50 split with Sony and a Chinese company when they made it. So they got a bigger piece of the Chinese box office. Normally, when films release internationally, especially in China, studios only get 25% maybe of the return. Sometimes China does not even give them that. They give them what they want to give them.
Yeah,
you got to be very careful. Your company is a Chinese produced company, and then they give their money to those type of studios. But if you're just doing it for publicity, which most of these films are doing now, you don't care. The numbers is more important than what you may get back, because it hypes people up even more about the movie.
Yeah, because I think the movie. Well, this isn't really a Chinese movie. The movie that came out recently, I just watched it. Peninsula. That's the sequel to Train to Busan. Yeah. That shit was like huge in Korea, South Korea.
Man,
huge.
That film is the reason why we're getting Tenet.
Yeah, because as soon as I saw it,
either.
And look, I saw it through other means. It was a very good copy, and I will watch that. If that movie hit theaters in the U.S., I will go watch it. I watched The Raid 2 in theaters here. I will watch it. Hell, I'll pay VOD for it because I thought that movie was really good.
It's out in theaters in the U.S. You just got to find it. Go see it.
I'll find it. I will find it. All I'm saying is, as soon as I saw Peninsula was out, I was like, oh yeah, we're going full tilt on international release, because we already know internationally COVID is kind of pretty much at bay for a lot of these countries for the most part.
I mean, it debuted to over 20 million in Korea. That was all the sign the major studios needed to know, like, okay, we may need to shift our thinking and international release over.
Australia is fine. England is kind of almost on there. UK is almost kind of getting there, but they can still release stuff. It's getting there overseas.
UK has a release date for Tenet on the 26th of August.
Yeah, so everybody, us except for US and Canada, we're just screwed. It's like, damn it.
US but here's the weird part: Tenet can actually release in the US in that time. You just can't release in the major markets, and that's why they're holding it back. It's to get to major markets.
Yeah, it's going to be the LA, the New Yorks and stuff. And you know what? I said it best. I think people, if they said, Tenet is getting a limited release in New York, I think a lot of people would travel to, New York got a travel ban. Never mind.
We ain't going to New York.
You ain't going nowhere.
No. I was like, it was LA. I could see a lot of people rolling over to LA to go see it.
Clearly, they just had a house party with 10,000 people in LA. I'm pretty sure they'll go to a movie.
Oh, they go to LA. It's like, oh shit, we're LA. All right, bet. Chicago. All right, cool.
It just depends on, again, what are the studio's mindset on how to move with this pandemic.
Yeah, I mean that's
all your entertainment back. But again, normally the studios that can afford to push everything back are studios that have revenue streams from other places, and it's not going to overly affect them to push things back.
Like some of the shows that I'm watching now, like a lot of them I've started up production because I forgot a couple of them now. They did a lot of their filming in New Zealand, and New Zealand opened their borders up, and it's like, oh yeah, we're only letting people that actually are doing business. We're not letting travelers in here. Fuck that. So I was noticing like a lot of the shows that I watched, they're actually going to debut this fall, and I was like, oh shit, that's right, because they're filming in New Zealand. Gotcha.
Yeah, keep in mind that the new pressure point will be around October.
Yeah.
And what I mean by pressure point is TV productions that have been delayed, like those companies no longer have content to put out. So when they don't have
Tyler Perry does though, doesn't he?
But look, he owns Georgia. In Georgia, ain't nobody getting on. But
hey, look, when I saw how he had his whole thing set up, and he's only had like 1 or 2 people that got caught with it, and I was like, oh shit, he got this shit on lock. All right,
people are going to have to start putting respect on Tyler Perry's name.
Hey, I don't have to like the show. But he had, as soon as he said he only had 2 people that tested positive, everybody's negative every day. I was like, oh, he got it on lock. All right, cool.
Curry runs his video like the NBA runs the bubble in Florida. You get in and you stay there. He has enough acreage and land to house you on there until your show is done.
And then you go home. It's like,
but major studios don't. So come October, when the new TV season starts and you don't have content, man, some of this stuff you got on a back burner, you may just decide, you know what, it has to come. We need content.
Yeah, put it out.
Yeah, we need content.
So, quick question when it comes to Tenet, though. So, reason why I want to bring this up is let's walk through what this is really going to look like. Because I think that people want to know. And if anybody's watching this, I think that we'll be able to kind of like map it out from our personal perspective. All right. So, when Tenet releases out internationally, say it goes a mass international run, and they do a limited release in certain sections of the United States, or maybe doesn't release it out at all. Yeah. What does that look like from the point that starts until January, or let's say February 2021? What does that really look like? Either one of you guys. I'm just really curious because I'm not just talking about so it releases out internationally and limited release here. At what point where does it go from that point? Because I think that's what I'm more curious than anything, because once it's out internationally, and not even so much on the spoiler side of stuff, but I'm just curious, where is it going to go? How is Warner Bros. Going to approach it? Are they going to start to, we released out a few theaters here, a few theaters here, and then, by January, we've got it out everywhere. I'm just really curious what you guys' perspective on.
It's going to be
from day one until February.
They'll roll out. They'll keep doing their commercials here in the States, pretending as though they're going to release it just to kind of keep that awareness there and stuff. Internationally, they're definitely going to ramp up because, if they're going to release it in China and all these other places, they got to ramp it up and stuff. I could see them, as Lucas pointed out, the whole thing of maybe like, all right, we'll test a release in like LA and see how that rolls. And then we'll put it here, and then we'll put it in this state to see how it rolls, and then see where we're at COVID-19 wise here in the States. And then maybe we'll do like a limited run in the theaters and see how it works.
I would say the roadshow approach.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot the roadshow.
The roadshow approach it's like if you have a carnival or something, and you just come into each city, and you come in the city, you do your show, and then you move to the next city, and you move to the next city, and you move to the next city. That's the approach Warner Brothers wants to have with Tenet. Internationally, it's already set. It's going to drop 70 markets on the 26th. Yeah. Pay no attention to that. The U.S. stuff is not supposed to even start until Labor Day weekend. So what they'll do is they'll pinpoint maybe 10 markets. It's going to be the medium to small markets, though. So Milwaukee may get Tenet. Vermont may get Tenet. Places of that nature where the virus is not overly affecting anybody. And these are places that's already been open forever. Some of them never closed. So you would do small things there. And then you will progress as the year goes on. What happens is it allows a movie to play in theaters a lot longer and with no competition.
Oh, Draft House. I forgot about the Alamo Draft House stuff.
You're going to just constantly drop it slowly. You're going to move it through the U.S. instead of the huge releases that we're used to, where 4,000 screens on opening weekend. You may get 100 screens on opening weekend, and then you get another 100 screens on opening weekend. Then they reduce those screens and keep on moving the film over and over and over again. The goal is to, within 6 months, hit every market in the U.S. That has to be their goal. It is not to drop it all at once. So let's say us in this area here, we may not see Tenet until November. It's a chance sooner because this area is not hit as hard as other areas have been.
Yeah.
But an area like LA may not get Tenet until next February.
Yeah.
New York
Forgot
may
about
not get
that.
Tenet until next February. And you just stagger it out that way until everyone can see it, because two things happen, especially when you stagger movies this way. Normally, you worry about piracy. That should not be that big of an issue because no theater will be packed over 20 to 30%.
Yeah.
So piracy is kind of hard to pull off.
I mean, piracy.
When you
Yeah.
have no cover. Internationally, that's fine. They're going to pirate it internationally. They know that. It's
Yeah.
going to be piss poor copies. Normally,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you go to the US and you get the best copies of it, is because US studios release pay-per-view versions of their films overseas quickly. They're
That
not gonna
happened.
do
That happened for Dread. I saw it in theaters.
Yep.
Love the movie. I think that's after that weekend was over, there was an actual Korean VOD copy that popped up online.
As Sam
Yep.
said also, Sam said once in our chat about the drive-through market.
Yeah.
Because multiple places in this country have drive-through theaters.
Mhm.
All those places.
Yeah.
I think there's one still up in Baltimore, I think.
Yes, it is. It
Yeah.
is one still in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So all these places are going to get Tenet. Like, we have movies that are making money, just as they're not making big money because it's not big films.
Yeah.
So all those markets, those are the ones that are going to get Tenet first over Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
progressively roll it out, but you slow roll it. You're treating it the way we're used to seeing Oscar films treated. How it comes in these small art house theaters, and that stretch of time can last for 4 months before that film hits where you're at for you to get the chance to see it. We just haven't, since the 70s and 80s, we haven't seen a tentpole film do this.
Yeah,
That's true.
I mean, we've seen smaller films. I think
Yeah,
Kevin Smith was doing the roadshow approach like you were doing for all his films and stuff.
Grindhouse. We saw
it's-
with Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez when they did the Grindhouse film, and they did this exact approach. And I think that's what Warner Brothers is looking at and saying.
People forgot about that.
Off.
People completely forgot about Grindhouse and what they did with that. That was
We only remember things that happened yesterday.
But David, it's funny. Like when that movie dropped in 2007, and I remember like being on the forums and stuff, and how they were going about that film. Like, oh yeah, we're taking it on the road, and I was like, taking it on the road? What?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, all right, And then when it hit theaters, it was like, even though it did okay in theaters and stuff, from what I heard, like on the other side of it, it was like critically acclaimed, and that's why their DVD sales went through the fucking roof.
It became a cult movie. Now, if they, I don't know how with a movie as big as Tenet, if you manage to do this approach, because normally Roadhouse films become cult classic type of film.
Yeah.
If you mess around and manage to pull that off with Tenet, you'll make your money tenfold, because over the time, people are still going to want to see it in theaters.
Oh, I've seen a bunch of people.
Yeah,
everybody online. Everybody online that I've seen actually do want to see this in theaters.
So what happens if you just, for the first year or so, you make X amount of money, and then come late 2021, 2022,
full rollout,
a complete IMAX run of Tenet.
With the Avatar
only
effect.
place you're going to see it. You're not going to see it anywhere else.
Yep.
People will pay through to see this film, and that's the key part. I am extremely excited about any film thinking they could do this roadshow approach again to filmmaking.
Not every movie can do it, but there are certain movies. Like I said, Kevin Smith is probably the only one that I know of that's still doing it recently.
Marvel and DC could do it with no issue. If they wanted to do it this way, them two can do it, because you already have a cult following who's going to go see it anyway. So just imagine if I just pop up in a city and say, hey, for opening weekend, these 3 cities are going to get to see Black Widow.
Before you do.
Every screening would sell out to whatever capacity they can sell out to.
Sure.
And then you move it to a new market. Like, you can make a killing if you do it properly, and you can limit bootlegging films by me telling you it's a 2-week engagement. That's the only time you're going to see this movie. And then we got to move it to a new city within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That way we keep down the ability of you being able to go online, because kids these days love telling everybody everything they've seen, and the
Reddit forums will be through the roof.
So if you can do it that way and keep it at bay for as long as humanly possible by constantly moving it every 2 weeks,
you
can make a killing.
Yeah, I think the last movie that I've seen that kind of happened to this nature was Man, what was the name of that giant?
I mean, I saw Red State was the last one for me. I saw that.
So remember Paranormal Activity?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did do that.
Not,
yeah, they did do that.
It literally started with like Sundance or some whatever was like, yo, this is the scariest movie ever, and then it hit, and they had this online circulation like, yo, you want to go get it in your town, you want it in your town. And then eventually it got this mass opening throughout the whole entire year, like it just opened in certain cities. And I think talked about it, and
I think all the Alamo Draft Houses got it because I remember Any Cool News was talking about it. It was like, oh yeah, go to your local Alamo. I think the Alamo Draft House in Texas, Virginia. Yep. I think there's one in California, isn't it?
Yeah.
California. Those three got them, and then that's when they did the slow release, and it's like, oh, okay, this is serious business.
If we give people the credit that we should, meaning moviegoers, people that love film, if we give them the credit that we should. And Warner Brothers goes smart about this and says, hey, come see Tenet. Don't spoil it for anybody. We've seen multiple movies do that and people not spoil it because people like, man, even though they want to tell you everything, you're going to get a few buttholes who are going to do it. But that of course. It is. But majority of the people can hold in a secret. Sixth Sense. Like I saw the Sixth Sense months after it came out and still didn't know the big catch at the end.
Well, the online market was not as huge as it is now, so you're fine on that end.
Yeah. You can get a movie like that as long as you pitch it that way to other people.
You have to present it a certain kind of way to establish. And I mean, to your point, like I think that using some of these like science museum locations, like museum markets in our area, the Smithsonian's in this area, even in California, they got plenty of science museums. Like, and they just have them like these are the designated spots for this week only. You'll be able to see it in your city, yada yada yada. And certain drive-through movie theaters will be able to have it in this city. This is your opportunity to check out. Please don't spoil it. Here's your opportunity. Like people will go for it because honestly, I was that person when it came to like something like Avatar. Like Avatar, I saw that maybe 3 times in the theaters because of the experience. It didn't matter what the movie was about. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I just want to see this beautiful experience. And I remember when it went through its run, I bought the 3D Blu-ray, bought a 3D TV for it, and it re-released out in IMAX, and I went right back to the theater and looked at it because I wanted to experience it. And that's how people are going to feel about Tenet. They want to experience Tenet. Regardless, I don't care what anybody thinks about what I think about the safety precautions or whatever, but people want to see it. I want to experience it. So my only measure has always been about, maintaining the integrity of the film from a spoiler standpoint. This big part about a movie like Tenet is the spoilers around it. People don't care about Mulan getting spoiled because we've already seen Mulan.
We already seen Mulan, but we already seen Mulan. But I think it's more so. I think people are curious to see how this movie is going to pan without the music and without the dragon. Which I'm like, all right,
yeah, but it's like with Tenet, like the whole element about Tenet is the mystery behind. Is this an Inception sequel? Is this completely totally different? Like people don't really know. You know what I'm saying? If they do it the way that Lucas is kind of, provoking it in a way, it's like, yo, you have this limited capacity amount of time to see this. Don't talk to it. If they pitch it a certain kind of way, you maintain keeping the integrity of the spoiler. And I think that even when it came to like something like Split, like we didn't really. I think we looked at it. We all saw Split together, right? I think, yes. We were like, we couldn't. Even in our reviews, like, yo, we can't say nothing. Like we were like, nah, bro, you don't want to know. Just watch it. Like, is this gonna be good? M. Night Shyamalan? Watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was important to having other people want to experience it. Now, of course, like Lucas said, there are people that want to spoil stuff just to talk, but I think that if it's pitched a certain kind of way, to Lucas's point, I think you could maintain this movie a certain kind of way. It's just gonna have to be. I don't know, man. I'm worried, but I'm also excited at the same time. It's really weird experience.
I don't know, man. Like I said, I think everybody's perceptions on this whole thing with VOD is just like, I don't know. Like I said, I think people, number one, I think movie theaters have to make the adjustment for audience members in terms of the theater experience. There are some theaters that have adjusted and stuff. We see the premium and indie theaters are already doing that and stuff. I saw somebody talk about like some of the smaller theaters having to pay money to kind of update their equipment, which that's 100% true, which is funny enough because a lot of theaters aren't really showing IMAX in true IMAX.
No,
exactly.
They can afford it.
I think that the museums are the only ones that are showing it in true IMAX.
But what happens is people want a certain experience from theaters, but then they don't want to pay for the experience in theaters. You can't have it both ways here. You can't
that's exactly what it is.
That we want this experience where like we're comfortable, like home. I want to order food. I want to order drinks. I want to do this. I want to do that. Guess what? It's a theater like that everywhere. You
gotta pay money.
Don't want to pay for that type of experience. Personally, like our iPick in this area, like every major movie that releases in the iPick in our area sells out.
Yeah.
I love when I have to pay to, which is very rare that I pay at this point to see movies. But when I do,
we're all three in the same boat, Lou. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. We don't really pay at this point to see movies, but when we do, we want to. It's a certain experience that we want to have.
Yeah,
I love the Alamo Roadhouse for their experiences. It's a great theater to go to.
Yep.
AMC has some amazing theaters that you can go to in our area, but if you go on the outskirts of our area, sometimes the movie theaters are basic. But the issue is they're basic because that's what people want.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want to pay $5 to $6 for a movie. You think they're gonna put you in like 4DX for $5?
Hell no.
That's not gonna happen. So have realistic expectations on what your theater is going to provide to you.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, they have to update themselves, but it's like at the same time, like you said, it's like I've been to those theaters where they serve you alcohol and you get the food that's beyond just chicken fingers. It's like no, you're getting like an actual like food, but you're paying the money for it.
I had the best vegan sandwich ever from the Alamo Draft House. Like they can give you the stuff that you want, but are you willing to pay the premium price for it? I think we have to start enjoying and appreciating the theater experience more.
Mm-hmm.
Like we get it. If I think all of us have been to plays and shows and things of this nature.
Yeah.
How many people do you hear argue on Broadway that the starting ticket price for them is normally $185?
Listen,
it's because you're paying for the experience. Now, normally the movie theater experience is the people you're in theaters with. I love going to movie theaters and interacting with people because sometimes you get caught up with the people that sit next to you and you talk during the movie and things of this nature. Like I said some very hurtful things when we went to go see Get Out with the people who were next to me. Like it happens that way, but that's the experience that you want.
It is. It definitely is.
Want that type of experience. And I think it's one of the few times where it's one of the few places in the world, in our country especially, where it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't. Your status in life doesn't matter. Most times your race, religion, that don't matter. Your sexual preference doesn't matter. It's a group of people in one place enjoying the same form of entertainment together. There's not too many other places. We get that from movie theaters and we get that from sporting events. That's about it.
That's it. Right? I mean,
so that's something to me. That's something to fight for. That's something to want to uphold. Yes, we 100% sure need to make sure it's a safe experience. 100% at this point, but that's not something you just give up on and think people should go just to the VOD model. I don't particularly love the VOD model. I have everything technically humanly possible to make my home theater experience amazing.
Definitely.
But it's just not the same experience as being in a theater with people, enjoying entertainment, being shocked and surprised by things, stuff of that nature. Now, if right now with everything going on, if your level is at a certain point and that's not something you want, that's perfectly fine.
Oh, that's cool.
But don't believe or don't think these studios are going to push the products that they made that are made for theaters to you.
No, they're not.
It's not gonna happen.
And granted, like I said, as much as I see a lot of people bucking hard, I'm like, you're gonna be in theaters. As soon as if they said Black Widow right now is gonna be in theaters, you will low key take you behind the theaters.
I don't need to see Black Widow.
No, I'm just using that as an example though. But like, it's funny that a lot of people say one thing, but I'm like, low key, you're gonna go to it. You're just not gonna tell anybody on social media. That's all this is. I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's gonna be a percentage of people, like maybe, I don't know what, 10% or 15% that's gonna be like kind of like me, where it's like, you know what, I can't risk it. Like, I don't want to put myself in a situation. I really want to go into the experience. I really want to see this joint, but I can't, and I can't convince my wife, to go with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, there's going to be people that are like that, but the other percentage of that are people going to be like, you know what, if the conditions are right, then yeah, I want to go. I want to see if this is going to be able to work, At this point, people are just trying to keep their mind. They're trying to keep their sanity at this point, and they need some kind of social interaction and immersion experience. And movie theaters normally during the summertime specifically is what helps keep our sanity. Even more so than vacationing, even more so than going and doing stuff with family. Like, that is an opportunity. You can go with somebody, you don't even know if you like them or not anymore. And you like have to go be there with them, like you really get to interact and have that experience. And thank God for technology we have now that we can interact, but that's where it's been for years. And I do think that as hard as it is to say, the theater experience is something that needs to be preserved in some way, shape, or form. It's just moving forward when it comes to quote unquote non-experience movies. Those might be maneuvering to the VOD side. Those might be going to the streaming side because
they're already doing that as is anyway, because the VOD market, you see it every day where it's like, oh, this movie with John Cusack that will never hit theaters is on VOD. It's like, that's always going to be a thing. And so when you get those movies, it's like, oh, now you're just going to see kind of like The Old Guard, for instance, and stuff. That's a movie that it would have did decent in theaters, but it got critically acclaimed on fucking Netflix and stuff, and people were like, I want a sequel now.
It's just hard though, because you might have like a movie like a Get Out situation where it's like people wouldn't know if it was going to be good or not, and it's like studios like, yeah, we should probably put this to VOD or give it to Netflix. They're like, no, this should be something that theaters. So you run the risk down the line of missing out on those big cult classics like A Quiet Place. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't know.
Quiet Place 2, bro.
A Quiet Place in theaters was one of the most intense. It was one of the most intense screenings I had ever been to, where the entire audience was quiet.
We were
in
quiet.
The movie because we were acting like the monster was going to come out. Like, that's something you want. Like, I remember seeing 1912. Am I saying that right? 1917. And those shots at times were something you just wanted to be next to somebody, be like, do you understand how amazing that looks?
Yep.
What would the moment in Endgame be when Captain America, the hammer comes to him, if you were at home watching it instead of a theater?
You'd just be like, oh shit, by yourself, basically. Like, oh shit.
Exactly.
That's it. It's just like, all right.
Clips that circulated online after that was people being in a crowded theater and that
losing
moment happening. And everybody losing their mind.
Actually, I'll take it a step further. Infinity War. Remember, we were at the theater at that screening and stuff, and everybody was like disappearing and dying, and that theater was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Like,
yeah, you want films, and they don't all have to be huge films.
Oh yeah,
small films have big moments that are the same way as Sam said with Get Out. To me, Knives Out was that way when I went to go see that. Going back even further, Looper was that way. When you got to the end and you revealed that they like all these films have great moments of this nature, so it's really hard to cherry pick which ones give you that experience.
Tenet is going to probably be the one that you need to have that theater experience because
Tenet is set up to be in theater. Like, he shot it specifically for theaters.
Because the thing is, you look at because it's not like we're talking Batman here. We're talking like if I can't imagine Inception being on VOD instead of theaters. I can't imagine it because that
Dark Knight
that whole
being on VOD instead of theaters.
I can see it, but
the experiences of the Dark Knight some of those shots are humanly impossible to watch
True.
at home and be as blown away as I was when I was in a theater watching it.
Yeah, but I mean, like Inception to me was like that was the experience to go see it because he was just doing some wild out there shit, you know. And you look at Tenet and it's like, oh, this is the same shit. Yeah, you got to see this in theaters because I think he even said he filmed like what half the movie on IMAX.
Yep.
Yeah,
I believe so.
but that's the thing. It's made for that's why directors fight so hard for their films to be released in theaters. And if you told a director like, hey, we can't release it in 4,000 theaters, we can release it in 200 or something, they wouldn't care. They'll take it. Like, understand that, like, this approach of going smaller in markets and things of that nature, directors don't particularly care about box office. It's only studios that care about box office. Directors just want you to experience the film in a way that they made it for you to experience. The difference between a Netflix film like The Old Guard versus Atomic Blonde. Look at the way they're shot.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, because they're structurally filmed the same way. It's just the way it looks. The visual
was shot for theaters. One was shot for a television, and you can clearly tell it. That's why I don't get overly excited with big Netflix films because all of them are shot for smaller screen.
You know what's weird though? Because when I look at
they're shot for it, I can't get into it the same way. That's all. Not meaning like the content of it.
Yeah, but like The Old Guard to me, it looked almost like that Jackie Chan movie that came out a couple of years ago. That was co-produced with China.
The Foreigner.
The Foreigner. It looked shot the same way. That's why I was like, I don't know, because The Foreigner looked like it could have been shot for like VOD, but they put it in theaters, and it's like
I think it was.
Hey, the movie
The Foreigner was.
I was shocked. I was shocked how decently well The Foreigner did box office wise. But like, if they told me that was going straight to VOD, I was like, I can believe it. That's some Jackie because Jackie Chan, low key in China, he's put out some straight to VOD movies over in China. Like,
everybody has. Like, it's a market.
It's not saying the movie is bad. It's just like, yo, that like I think the last was it Operation Chinese Zodiac movie. That was the one that like I think it came out in theaters, but I think it went VOD afterwards. And it's not to say it was a bad movie. It was like no, it just that's just how the market is.
We have amazing movies that have been released on VOD and since this quarantine started. I mean, I've done a whole review series on films that you can only catch on VOD, and some are horrible, but there's some of them that are really, really good. And
I say 1 in 5, you're gonna find that one in 5, you're like, oh, that was actually a pretty good movie.
Hey, one of the best movies released this year is a movie that went straight to VOD. Like, and it has Elizabeth Moss in it, and she's 10 times better in this movie than she is in Invisible Man.
Wow,
that's
huge, man.
Yeah, like we have the market is there for the VOD stuff, and I think it should be supported. It is a great asset to have to people, but it doesn't mean the films that are shot for theaters need to come to the VOD market. That's all I'm saying.
Look,
we need to kill our hopes here. That's not gonna happen with all these movies.
I just saw Tijuana Jackson, Purpose Over Prison. That's a funny movie. That shit wasn't coming to theaters. It's a funny ass movie, but it's like if they did put it in theaters, I could see that getting a limited release, and then it's just like, we're gonna put it on DVD afterwards. It's like,
I mean, since we're talking about releases though, and we're going on the Disney route, what are they gonna do with New Mutants? What should they do with?
Oh, they're gonna do. No, I see them doing what Lucas just said. They might roadshow that shit.
Well,
that would be smart.
I have a huge theory about New Mutants that we have discussed before.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this New Mutant theory because I am agreeing with you because you blew my mind on this because I sat there. So here's my thing. New Mutants, right? So I remember when New Mutants dropped, and I remember the director was kind of playing coy with how connected it was to the X-Men movies. Because I think did Apocalypse drop around that time? That he said that?
Yes, it did. Yeah. It dropped around that time.
And Apocalypse didn't do so hot, and he was just kind of like, I don't know if it's going to be connected, guys. You know, it's just we're just doing our own thing. It's the X-Men. It's just X-Men in a different part of this world. And you know, we kept seeing a lot of sites play up the fact that eventually the New Mutants are going to join up the X-Men in the future. This is before the Fox Disney talks even happened and stuff. And I was like, we'll see. And then New Mutants got bought by Disney, and there was a lot of talk about, I think you pointed out, like somebody, I don't know what site leaked it, but it was a site that leaked the fact that New Mutants are part of the MCU, and everybody on Twitter and social media lost their shit.
No, not a site. It's not a site. A site didn't leak it.
Oh, I thought a site
Disney leaked it.
Okay,
Disney
Disney
leaked it.
Disney accidentally leaked it.
It was on Disney's official D23 site,
Just like
and
Fox
it said New Mutants
accidentally
the latest
leaked
edition. Exactly, it was like the latest edition to the MCU, and people saw it and like, whoa, what do you mean?
Now,
And then they came back and said, oh no, that was an error. Come on now.
Now, if you know anything about what's happening in Eternals, and Eternals is basically, for the most part, kind of their open window into bringing the mutants into the MCU, it is not shocking that they would try to kind of fold New Mutants into that. Because if you look at the movie itself, it does look like it's like, it reminds me like Deadpool. Deadpool, I can see why Disney's like, oh yeah, we can bring Deadpool in because it's so standalone from everything else. You can kind of fold it in, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that was a goal initially when Fox greenlit New Mutants.
Really?
They wanted the Deadpool approach with New Mutants. They did not want it connected to anything.
They wanted
it to be its own contained thing.
Yeah.
Well, we have not been a lot of people have not been paying attention to. I'm not going to say we, because I think we've been paying attention to
it. Yeah. Slowly but surely.
During the course of all the reshoots and everything that had been happening with New Mutants, a lot of the reshoots were overseen by Disney. Mm-hmm. So, as Disney were overseeing these, and then all of these rumors about Disney wants to can this movie, no one could get an official word from it. To me, that was more of people trolling than anything else.
And the trailers make the movie look a little bit better than what it is, and it's like, oh, okay.
See, but right. That to me, that's always been just people's thought and not paying attention that Disney's been holding on to this movie for 3 years now.
Well, I'm talking the special effects, because I could tell the special effects, they put some like money into it, like to really up it up a little bit.
But 3 years they've been holding on to one movie
twice.
2 reshoots
after because they did the initial reshoots, and then the next year they were like, well, we have other stuff we have to add in. And I was like, what more are you adding in?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Fox isn't giving you money for this, so what's? Exactly. I was really curious as to what they were at. And then part of my brain was like, they could, blend this in, but I was like, Marvel's not going to do that. Just looking at Apocalypse, they're not going to do that.
And but Dark Phoenix going away.
Dark Phoenix, Lord knows.
They disavowed Dark Phoenix. Like, whatever. Yeah.
but
we're good.
That was because those are the big characters in the X-Men universe.
Mm-hmm.
You can use New Mutants just to introduce mutants into
the concept of it.
Yeah. That's all you have to do. Yeah. And for a film that in tone is extremely close to in tone of the new Doctor Strange film,
yep,
it makes perfectly good sense why no matter what film gets delayed, gets pushed, gets whatever, they have held on to New Mutants like it's a prized possession.
No VOD, despite everybody saying, put it on VOD. It's like, nah, we're good.
They are holding the hell out of New Mutants, which made me think, and this is just my thought process. I have nothing to back it up, but just my thought process was, they may have connected this to the MCU the same way Warner Brothers did with The Curse of La Lorna. I'm never going to say that name right of that film. And Warner Brothers dropped a horror movie, did not tell you it was connected to the Conjuring universe. Till the film dropped and you saw it and you was like, wait a minute. This is a Conjuring film.
Because all you need is, because you can't, and then you have to imagine there's probably a huge Easter egg that they're sitting on, and no movie site, not even the ones that make fucking assumptions and stuff, have leaked it because they don't even fucking know.
Single Grace Randolph has been able to figure out what's going on with New Mutants. Like it is an enigma.
Hell, what we're doing is guesswork, and it's like I don't even think we're even close.
But it's just factoring in things because certain things just aren't making sense here.
Yeah, because who does this?
Especially with you pushing Mulan out to VOD.
And not New Mutants.
Pushing New Mutants out.
Now again, we know it's because they have a deal with theaters, but even then, it's like, man, y'all really are holding on to hope for that.
But the deal with theaters is the deal they have with all their movies. It ain't no special deal with New Mutants. It's just that New Mutant is holding something, and they want people to see it in theaters. They do not want people to see it on VOD.
And that might be why some of the actors and actresses aren't saying shit. So that's
Yeah,
why they're
boy,
like,
if you, the only panel I watched during
the Comic-Con at home.
I watched it.
Mutants, and boy, were they coy about that movie and not saying much.
Because you think about it. Because you think prior to that, a lot of people were assuming, oh man, the New Mutants cast is pissed off and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, based on what? We don't know this. And then you look at the panel at Comic-Con, you're like, they're very coy. So either A, Disney signed them to a long-term deal for MCU if this whole MCU thing is right.
Hey, that would not be surprising. It is New Mutants is a cast of extremely talented young people. Extremely talented young people.
Yeah.
Especially get old girl from off of damn Game of Thrones as one of your names.
With a director that follows the mold of every director picked for the MCU recently.
Yeah.
Like, you got to pay attention. Like, I don't know if Fox's idea was to do this, or did Disney just come in and say, wait a minute, like,
you got something here.
We can literally fit this movie in our universe because it's not connected.
Because even the directors been coy as shit about it.
Movies. Like, it's so on its own to the point where I don't even think they call the kids mutants in this movie.
They mention it during the trailer, but that's about it.
They mention it and they talk around it. And the thing about that whole Comic-Con panel is, honestly, out of all the panels I saw, that was the biggest. That was the one that engaged me from the beginning all the way to them showing the very beginning of the movie.
Well, I mean, let's be real.
Like, wait, what? Why are you showing us the beginning of the movie?
Well, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. If San Diego Comic-Con happened this year, that'll be some Hall 8 shit. Easily.
Here you go right here. If San Diego would have happened this year, it possibly would have revealed in Hall H that New Mutants was part of the MCU.
There you go.
Yeah.
Feige would have came out and been like, oh yeah, New Mutants is part of our whole thing. So boom, there you go.
Hey, what did he say last year when we went?
Yeah, we got mutants. They're coming. He didn't say a date. He just said they're coming.
Hey, he right. They are coming. It was
because you know what's funny? I saw everybody but me and a couple. I think me, Sam, and a couple other people. We didn't say that he said mutants are coming at a certain date, but everybody else kept saying, "Oh yeah, they're coming in 2022." And I'm like, he never said a date. He just said they're coming. He didn't say a date. So
wait. So has New Mutants never had a Comic-Con panel?
Nope.
So the Comic-Con at home was their very first panel.
Because you gotta remember,
even though it was made back in 20.
But you gotta remember, they were doing more promotion for Dark Phoenix. Because you remember, everything was Dark Phoenix promotion. Yeah. Dark Phoenix promotion.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been in the Hall H experience. Sometimes they'll go and have, like, remember the Black Panther cast came up, they didn't have any footage or nothing. They just
New Mutants was just sitting there because I think from the time they announced New Mutants and we saw that first initial trailer, right? That was right around the time they announced the Dark Phoenix. And that's when Fox, before this whole deal happened, they were saying, oh yeah, this is going to be the start of something new. We're going to get New Mutants integrated. We're going to do this. We're going to do that and stuff. And I think that's when Gambit was kind of sort of on the table, but not really and stuff. And then over time, once like Dark Phoenix was getting filmed and stuff, and then we heard about the Disney Fox deal and then it was getting reshot, it was like, so New Mutants, are we going to get a panel with San Diego? Nah, it's just going to sit there. It just sat on the table.
That's interesting. Thinking about it, the way that we're thinking about it is interesting. And I'm going to read you guys the D23 joint, because I sent it to you guys a second ago. But this is what it read. Meeting the New Mutants in a thrilling new trailer. This is seriously electrifying new addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it comes in the form of the latest from 20th Century Fox and Marvel Entertainment. The first thing that you see, and then it goes in and breaks down everything else. And then they deleted this joint. It's like, this is on their site. It's not like.
And here's the kicker: if that movie drops and they show the new MCU opening thing with the comics and shit, and the Captain America from the movies and all that shit, that's when you know it's like, oh, that shit's MCU now.
Or they won't play the opening in front of it.
I don't think they would do it.
No. They would wait. They would wait until we get to a moment in the film where it's revealed why is connected
Yeah.
to the MCU.
Oh, okay. See, I'm thinking they were going to do the opening like they do for all. That's what I would think
Because
they would do.
showed us the opening. They already showed us the very
No, let's say
beginning
no. But what I'm saying is like the usual typical
opening
MCU
credit,
the opening thing and stuff, where they show Captain America in the movies, and it's like that thing.
They could show it with any X-Men film because technically Marvel is completely over them anyway.
True,
but I think it's always been a thing, and it could be just a thing that they've been holding back to see. Okay, we got an all-kid cast. We love young cast. We believe this movie is really, really good, and it is the perfect film because it's not connected to the other X-Men movie to introduce mutants into the MCU.
It's a backdoor way.
All you're doing is introducing the term mutants. That's it.
Yeah, and at that point. And at that point,
getting a big side character from another MCU film to be in this movie and him to bring that up, and that's it.
And then you go into your Eternals and seeing what they do, and then boom, there you go, full circle.
Because it's almost a perfect hype before your big films.
Yeah, and you don't, and also it takes the pressure off the fact that your first movie about mutants isn't, oh shit, we gotta put Wolverine in our movie, we gotta do Cyclops, we gotta do all this.
Like again, I don't think they want to introduce mutants with the biggest mutants. You want to introduce it with the smaller ones first.
Yeah, you gotta kind of build up to that.
Because what happens if at the end of New Mutants, Scarlet Witch shows up? That's all you would need.
Now, also that kind of helps their comic book side of it too, because
that's
Scarlet Witch,
right there.
Yeah,
if she shows up at the end of that film. That's it. Yeah. That's your introduction right there. This is part of the MCU.
Oh yeah, you've immediately got everybody invested.
We've signed these kids on for multiple movies
because
it introduces the dark side of the MCU. Which, damn it! When we were there, they constantly promoted how much more edge this new era of the MCU needed.
Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, and
why the hell wouldn't this film be the perfect innuendo to everything?
I mean, put it this way, it's also the testing grounds, and somebody brought this up too. This could be even beyond that. You look at Doctor Strange and stuff. That's the testing grounds to see, hey, how can we bring Punisher and that stuff into it? Maybe not saying Punisher as a show could happen, but how far can we really hit that PG-13 rating before we can't really go past that? Because like you said before, Disney Plus, it's family, so you can't really go too crazy with it.
But maybe New Mutants could go in there because it's basically Goosebumps.
There you go.
It's a teen horror film. Like it fits perfectly into the model of what they want their universe to be. Like again, it's just an interesting idea that came to me as we were talking, and Sam said something about New Mutants, and I said, well, why wouldn't you think it could be a connection?
When he said that, at first I was like, I really can't dispute that because that makes perfect goddamn sense because it was already, because like I said, the movie already from jump when the director said it's standalone to a degree, I was like, oh shit, that does work because he already said it was standalone, so yeah.
And they did shift the movie from a rated R rating to a PG-13 rating,
and still gets the point
after
across.
The post. Once they did the reshoots, they shifted it from a rated R to PG-13, and I was like, "There's a reason for that. There's a reason for it."
Yep.
But this is, I don't know, man. This is a really crazy time. It's an exciting time.
We're doing all this speculation just off of the point. We have not seen Disney hold on to a movie the way they're holding on to New.
They're holding on to so much stuff right now. It's like
it's crazy that they're still holding on to this 2017 Fox movie in 2020.
God, that was 3 years ago, wasn't it? Fuck.
This is a long hold of a film.
No, you know what? I thought it was 2018. I really thought it was 20. Damn,
no, because Justice League came out that same year that they were
damn,
hyping New Mutants.
Damn,
that same year. Like they have been holding New Mutants back, and that's why so many people have been questioning, like, why are you holding this back? Why not just drop it? And people saying, well, it's not connected anyway. Just drop the movie. And Marvel's probably thinking, yeah, you thought it wasn't, but we clearly have connected.
Oh, yeah, all they need is, like you said, all they need is one little surprise, and they're like, oh shit, and it's like,
because if they release this on the 28th or 25th or whenever they planning on doing it, and it has that MCU connection.
I mean, look,
the the biggest trick for comic book audiences in years that you were able to pull. This and whatever Ryan and Zach have tricked out for Snyder Cut will be the two biggest surprises humanly possible.
I think the difference is it's like Snyder Cut is HBO Max, so it's going to be an experience in terms of everybody all like kind of live tweeting it. And I think New Mutants is going to get that theater experience that we talked about earlier, where it's going to get people like talking, because that's going to get people like, oh shit, I want to see New Mutants in the theater. It's like we gotta see this.
If Ryan Reynolds shows up in Justice League, listen,
I swear to God, he pops up as Green Lantern, and I'm like, it's not.
Again, that was one of my other theories that I had been saying for a while now.
I mean, the thing of it is, all of us, we knew, like all of us said, we knew from jump, like, and I remember when Green Lantern dropped, that was supposed to be the start of it before they pulled a mulligan and was like, all right, Man of Steel is the start of it. Fuck that movie. And I was like, technically, you guys, Green Lantern still does exist. It's just, this is before Superman.
It's a bad movie. Yes, it's a horrible movie. But
it's a horrible movie, but like you can blend that shit in. You can blend it in pretty well. You can blend it in pretty well. It's there. It exists.
They've been doing a great job of promoting flashpoints and all this other stuff to show you. No. We can combine all these movies into one area.
Dude, Aquaman did such a phenomenal job of forgetting Justice League. Like, hey, with that Steppenwolf. Yeah, all right, yeah.
That out the blue, Ryan Reynolds is tweeting about a movie.
Oh, he's in it. He's fucking in it. He's in it.
Why is he so obsessed with Green Lantern?
It's like when he put out that Deadpool thing. I'm like, Ryan, so you got Deadpool, Green Lantern. Gotcha. It's like, come on, we already know your head, dog. We already know it. We knew it.
He's clear. I think DC and Warner Brothers has had him under contract this entire time. And
he's been collecting money. He has been collecting money under the table from them.
They've been trying to figure out, how can we because we constantly heard things about a Green Lantern movie. We constantly heard things about Green Lantern shows, and they never talked about who was cast in a role.
They never did. They never even gave us sub characters. Because normally they give little sub characters, and it's like we already know that the Green Lantern show is coming to HBO Max, just like Justice League Dark is.
I mean, so, other than Tyrese's crazy ass thinking that he's a Green Lantern, that's the only thing we do about Green Lantern.
We have no clue.
He may be on the show because
we have no clue.
How many different characters of Green Lantern do you have?
I would say on Earth alone, you have 6.
6, yeah, 6 or 5.
So the one that Hal Jordan, who is the one Ryan Reynolds played, can clearly just be for your movies.
Yeah.
And if you want to correct what happened with that horrible movie, all you have to do is show this nigga show up in a different Green Lantern suit and say, "Yeah, I had to change." That's it.
That happened. No. It's like I tell everybody. It's the GI Joe retaliation thing where you soft reboot certain elements and you still keep stuff that you did in your previous movie intact. So it's like you didn't completely erase your previous movie, but you just did a little slight changes. Like you said, you put Ryan Reynolds in a new Green Lantern suit. But you still recognize, oh yeah, it's the same Hal Jordan. It's just, you just make a little adjustments.
And nothing is above Snyder Luther King Jr. Nothing is above him.
And look, all I'm saying is this.
He would have reached out to Ryan and said, hey, I need Green Lantern in this movie. Would you be willing to reprise Green Lantern? And we'll correct enough of it that if you want to continue and make one down the line, Warner Brothers will be fine with it.
Now, The Rock saying that Ryan Reynolds. Now, The Rock saying how Ryan Reynolds is Hawkman. I'm like, come on, Ryan. What are you doing?
No. That's what The Rock is supposed to do. Because the moment he brought that up, Ryan tweeted, "I'm not Hawkman, but all this other stuff." And I think I would love to be in the Snyder Cut, but I think I'm already in the Snyder Cut. Like, come on, it was the perfect setup.
Oh my God, man.
For so many years, people thought DC didn't know what they were doing, and this whole time they have been playing.
No. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, Lucas.
Movies.
I have a feeling. Here's the thing. I don't think they knew what they were doing, but they did what some smart companies do. They take the chaos and they figure out a way to make it work for them. Right? So it's like, all right.
I mean, but
because think about it. You think about back to last year, right? I'm gonna say this right now. Snyder Cut never exists, right? But Warner Brothers knew they had a lot of Snyder material that he filmed, and you saw a lot of that stuff leak out. Like, remember they leaked that Flash shit with him saving Iris. It was like a rough cut of it, right?
Ouch.
And everybody was like, "Oh man, that should be in the movie. Why wasn't in the movie? Because he didn't finish it." So they knew, all right, we have people online that are saying Snyder cut. Fuck it, give him his money, let him finish the movie where he wants to do it.
So
Humor
this is the thing, Chris, with this is, and me and Lucas have talked about this. I agree with you, but who created the chaos?
It was Snyder that created the chaos.
Mm.
No.
No. Understand that my thought process this entire time has been, all this was done by Warner Brothers. They're not.
I don't think Warner Brothers started the Snyder cut thing, but I do feel that they added fuel to the fire, though. I will admit that. I'll admit that.
The fans initially started the questions about the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
When Zack Snyder started leading stuff, that was Warner Brothers, because he owns no rights to any of that stuff. Warner Brothers owns everything. You'll never hear a director leave a movie studio and take all the film that he shot with him. That don't happen. It includes Zach even saying at one point, "Yeah, we got to cut together, but you will have to ask Warner Brothers for it because they have everything on it." So how are you releasing stuff?
How you releasing pictures? How are any of the VFX companies releasing it?
No, that's why I said. That's why I said they added fuel to the fire afterwards. That's why I said they added fuel to the fire. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that they didn't have a hand. I'm just saying they didn't start it, but they just added fuel to the fire. Like, let's see how much we can really keep this going. And then it's like, all right.
They started this in 2018. DC started this.
Oh yeah, immediately after Justice League. As soon as Justice League did what it did,
there was like after Justice League. Go before that. I remember before we went to go see Justice League, and all the stuff came out, because this is around the time that AT&T bought Warner Brothers, and an exec for AT&T came out and said, "We are not holding back this movie. It is coming out no matter what, because we need to make our money back on it." At that point, that's when the traction started with, okay, let's put Zack Snyder on this social media service that we own and have him talk about this movie. Let's have him interact with fans around our movies so we can build upon it and see where we can get to.
Yeah,
that's it. And this whole time has been DC wondering, all right, okay, so once we get the momentum for the Snyder Cut, and amazingly, it happened to drop around the time we talked about this for years. And I kept on saying, if you're going to get the Snyder Cut, you're going to get it right around the time of HBO Max, because that's when they need to announce it.
Yeah, they need something big. They need something big to get people to actually pay money for it. The moment
they did it, they like, and I said, okay, clearly you're playing chess here, and you've been playing it with people for a while now.
Wow. Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just that when Warner Brothers switched leadership, that's when all of this stuff went into place. Because they knew then, like, okay, we have something here. And all we got to do, even if it's horrible, because I am still on the side that the Snyder Cut couldn't possibly be good. But
it might go up a point or two, maybe a point.
It's going to be a 4.5 hour movie. No.
Dude, I'm mad. Time out for a second. I am mad that movie is just as long as Endgame. I'm so mad at that. I was like, what?
I'm sorry.
No, it's longer. It's longer than Endgame, apparently.
BVS was longer than Endgame. Like,
no, Endgame was a smooth 3 hours. BVS was like 2 hours and 45, wasn't it?
No. The cut is 3 hours and 30 minutes long.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yes.
The original cut is that.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
Was 3 hours and 30 minutes. That's like literally, it's a whole 30 minutes added. The initial way that he wanted to distribute it, but Warner Brothers was like, yeah, that's not gonna work for the timing that we want for the slot for the theater. So then they related on.
This is fucking Gone with the Wind, like Jesus Christ.
So no,
it's Gone with the Snyder, because it's clearly like it's going to be a long cut of a film. But that's just saying the point that they knew they had something there, even while they were pushing all the rest of the films, and they kept on telling us, let's separate these from the Zack Snyder films and give you something completely different.
Hold up, I didn't see that. Oh, it's back on HBO Max?
No, this is IMDb. IMDb has got it listed under its own criteria of a totally different name.
Oh, that's IMDb. That's IMDb.
Branded,
anybody can do that.
It's actually branded now.
Oh,
That's
But remember, I thought they always said it would be a completely different everything. They
said it, but I'm like looking like this. That's different.
But think about it. Then you do all of this with the Snyder Cut, and then at the same exact time, you're finally pushing the Flash movie that you've been holding back on because you wanted to find the right person to do it. Magically, you get the right person to do it, and you could connect everything all over again.
Yeah.
It's what they wanted to do, and it's a beautiful way to get Ryan Reynolds back in the role as Green Lantern.
It cleans the slate, basically. It's like, all right, we got a little messy, so let's flashpoint this and clean the slate like we did in our cartoon movies, and go from there. Basically, you know.
I mean, we got a new Batman. You got a new everything at this point. Like Wonder Woman is still in 1984. Like it's like
it's basically gonna be one of those situations where we get a new Batman alongside of Momoa, Aquaman. It's like, oh, it's just a new Batman next alongside these other people. All right, cool.
We're gonna get a new Cyborg because he's gonna get his Howard treatment really soon.
Don't do that. Don't do that, sir.
But it's like they're double dipping into something that they've never done before. Technically, they will have had two Batmen in the same year. Like that's never happened before.
Maybe two Superman if Henry Cavill isn't busy with Witcher.
I mean, well, no. I mean, whatever they've already shot, they're not reshooting anything for this Zack Snyder movie.
I'm saying I'm talking the future because if they do a new Batman, there's odds are we might get a new Superman possibly. So
it depends on what they're gonna do with them. Like they might put him on the series. Who knows at this point? Like looking at this, I didn't even know Robin Wright was supposed to be in the Justice League movie. Yeah. But now they have it listed that she was one of the main people in the beginning of the movie. And
there was a lot of when you look back at everything from BVS and Justice League, and you look at the behind the scenes stuff. Because look, Ray Fisher bullshit aside, I remember the promotion for Justice League. They showed him playing football, and we were supposed to get Cyborg and all that backstory in the trailers. The trailers are still there. Yeah, exactly. So I remember all that in the promotion. So that it wasn't like it never existed. I remember all that shit. It was just one of those, like you said, Lucas. Like Whedon just came in and was like, all right, we gotta get this shit finished. Cut this. Put that in the movie and done.
Literally, Warner Brothers saying this blankety blank. And you can fill in that blanket however you want to. Just gave us a 4-hour cut to a Justice League movie.
Cut this down to an hour 45.
And again, it is known that Josh reshot 75% of the movie. So that means
75% of it. Yeah.
You almost got little to nothing of what's in the Snyder Cut.
And that's why I'm like, y'all blaming Whedon for this shit. I'm like, look at Warner Brothers. It's not like he sat there and wanted to do that. This is Warner Brothers giving the notes like, all right, cut this, put this in there, put that in there.
Well, what would you do if someone gave you a 4-hour cut of Justice League?
And you got a guy, and people
told you this is my cut. Like,
and people forget this is a guy that came off of phase 1 of phase 1 and 2 of MCU. So he has a general idea of a company telling them how to go about his movie. This is the same guy that probably had an Age of Ultron cut that might have been 3.5 hours, and he had to cut that shit down.
No problem about it. We know what he said about Marvel.
Yeah.
And that movie that he clearly said was not his movie.
Oh yeah, Age of Ultron was definitely, you could tell, like, he was stressed out. He was stressed out as shit. It was what it was, and it's like, hey, they went a different direction with it and stuff. So he already knows the deal. As soon as he got on Justice League, like, all right, I already know what I gotta do. Let's cut this out. Let's just get this shit done and over with. Boom, done.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. So this new thing is clearly going to be something completely different. So I just think Warner Brothers is, man, they are playing this game great right now because they have the most anticipated film of the year dropping on their stream.
I think it's more so they're hoping it's more so like, all right, we got the social media shit. Let's see where this is gonna go. Because like I said, the social media is gonna blow up as soon as it debuts. You're gonna get a whole bunch of live tweets, you're gonna get live reactions. That whole week, I would say that whole weekend it probably dropped. It's gonna be fucking through the roof. And then you gotta wonder, Would they even tempt trying to throw that shit in theaters? Probably not. But
no, no, I don't think it's almost the same thing I said earlier about Disney Plus.
Yeah.
About, hey, what happens if we spend X amount of money and drop it and Disney Plus wants to drop it at a premium because they can't afford to do it any other way?
Yeah.
That's not the case with AT&T. They can afford to drop premium movies on HBO Max.
Because they're fucking AT&T. They got fucking money.
So what happens if this movie is if this whatever, because it's not set yet if it's going to be a series or a movie, because again, it is 4.5 hours long. I don't
they can get away with a movie.
Yeah. No, not at forehand. No, not
on a streaming service. You can.
Who's sitting for 4.5 hours to watch?
Hey, a movie that I can pause at any time and go to the bathroom and stuff.
They get away with saying Justice League Part 1 and Justice League Part 2.
Well, that's it.
That's it. You gotta do. Ain't nobody sitting for a 4-hour-long movie. I don't give a damn how much you like Zack Snyder. That's not happening.
Hey, look, that Irishman almost took me out the game, bro. Me and Lucas sat in the theater and watched.
Nigga, I was at home watching Irishman. I was drinking. Hour and a half in the movie. I looked at the thing. I was like, "There's still more, Jesus!" And I'm like, "Man, this is crazy."
Now just imagine sitting for an hour and a half through Justice League and then realizing you have almost 3 hours left to go. Like, no, that's what I said. You can split it into 2 films. Yeah. So if this is successful for them, and success is not critics liking it, it literally is audiences liking it. They don't care if a critic hates this film. But I can see them deciding to spin some of that off into something completely different on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Or it just bleeds into their Flashpoint movie.
Oh no! I think after they Terrence Howard, Ray Fisher, then you may get a Cyborg movie on HBO Max. You may not get it in theaters because I don't want to see a Cyborg movie in theaters. That's not the black superhero we've been waiting on seeing.
Hey, look! I like Falcon, Captain America, but I was one of the small amount of minority of black people that was like, there was no way in hell you're going to give him his own movie. It sucks to say it, but in fact, it worked out better that he has a TV show because you can flesh him out a little bit better. Personally, it just works out better. And in fact, it just works because if you put him in a movie, now you got to rush that shit for like 2 hours. It's like, nah.
I mean, like if you're HBO, all you're doing is saying, let's extend this multiverse idea that we already have, and we could put stuff here, we could put it there, we could put it there. We have enough money, and we have enough characters if we choose to, and enough content to release it every way humanly possible.
DC Universe is out the door at this point, so you know.
No, not really, because now they want to spin the Titans off on DC Universe.
See, the thing is, I thought DC Universe it was turned into a Marvel Unlimited comic thing, which would have been dope if that's what they were doing.
Titans is still a show that they're refusing to remove from
DC Universe. Everything else is going DC Universe, but
wait, Lucas, I thought that Titans. When was it?
So it's Titans
beginning of last year. I thought it was going to HBO Max, or they reneged on that.
Yeah, so far they've reneged on dropping Titans on HBO Max.
So it's Titans, So it's Titans and basically the old cartoons that's still going to be on HBO Max, basically.
Titans,
on DC Universe,
and anything they spin off of from Titans.
Oh, Young Justice
supposed to be on DC Universe.
Is Young Justice on Max or DC Universe still?
DC Universe is There's been no talks about it being dropped on Max.
Okay, so the next season, because they did mention another season that they're doing and stuff, but I didn't know if it went Max or DC Universe and stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's still DC Universe. I mean, from everything I've read so far about it was that the Titans they wanted to spin the Titans off on multiple shows and have that be the staple of DC Universe. The issue with DC Universe is some of these shows are too critically acclaimed to be on a small streaming service.
That's why Harley Quinn went to HBO Max.
It's too and Harley Quinn is on HBO Max the first 2 seasons. It's a great chance they're going to run the season initially on DC Universe.
First.
Move it. Yeah. Just move it to HBO Max after that.
Yeah.
Which would make sense for them to do because it's a cartoon. You can do that with that show. Like Swamp Thing clearly is at CW now. What's going to happen after it re-airs? No one knows.
Hey, look. Constantine needs a new home. Get him and Swamp Thing into a TV show together. You're good to go.
No.
I mean, the thing is, they already got a Justice League Dark series that they're running on HBO Max. So it's like, there's no point.
Or put Constantine on that show.
No, I'm saying that take Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing, they could blend Swamp Thing on CW and then morph him over to Justice League Dark.
Or keep
it can do whatever they want to at this point now.
Or keep the show on CW and just have that character morph into HBO Max.
Yeah, because just like they did. I mean, just like they did, Constantine was an NBC product and stuff, and he popped up on CW on Arrow.
I mean, because all of it still technically is owned by AT&T.
Yeah, just like Supergirl, like that's what boosted up Supergirl's ratings on CBS at one time when she teamed up with Flash, and it threw everybody off. It was like, Flash is on CBS. I'm like, yeah, it was for that one episode of Supergirl, and that was the highest rated of that season on CBS and stuff.
It's enough content, and they have enough outlets to release stuff everywhere humanly possible. And I think that's DC's goal at this point, is saying, hey, let's do this show here, do this show here, do this show here. I think they made the mistake early with DCU, is some of those shows really fit on another network and it should have never been put on DCU. Stargirl had no business being dropped on DC Universe.
Hey, I'll be honest with you, with the budget that they had, though, their budget was a little bit more than what the CW shows were, if we want to be real.
I think it's more because
I agree.
I think it's more because they gave them more, but I think CW will give Stargirl the exact same budget.
Yeah, everybody keeps saying if it's going to CW, they're going to lower the budget. I'm like, I don't know, guys. They might keep the same budget.
You, at this point, you got to, because some of those.
Look, let me tell you something. This show had no business being as good as it is, especially going into this season finale right now. Like, because
So just imagine, though, it doesn't fit the tone of any show that's been on DC Universe. No.
Like, are you going to really see, like, it's like I can't see Stargirl on fucking Doom Patrol. Fuck no.
See, and that's another thing. No. Doom Patrol technically doesn't fit the tone of the Titans at all. Even when they did the backdoor pilot episode, that's not the Doom Patrol you get in the show.
It's a different one. It is a completely different Doom Patrol.
I think with DC Universe, what they're trying to figure out is, okay, Titans is the flagship show. We have to find other shows that fit the tone of Titans. These other shows we created do not fit that tone of Titans at all.
Yeah, it's like somebody like Cyborg. I could see Cyborg showing up on Titans.
Wasn't he supposed to be on Titans? I could have sworn Cyborg was supposed to pop up on Titans.
He was supposed to initially, but then after the first season of Titans, because Titans hit hard, they changed the ending of Titans, the very last 2 episodes or something like that. And then they were like, okay, we're going to progress this completely differently. And in that same exact time, I think, if you remember, Lucas, is that they were shooting Doom Patrol and they were like, yeah, this is going to be completely something different. And they were like, no, Cyborg is going to be a part of this. And I was like confused. But then when I saw Doom Patrol, I was like, oh, y'all were geniuses. Yeah. Because it works. I mean, the way that they have everything now, it works. But
I think, again, the pandemic slowed down some of their ideas possibly for DC Universe. And that's why they don't speak on it much.
Yeah, because I remember
you were going to get a Hawk and Dove show. I think that was obvious.
Yep.
I think they wanted to move forward with a Jason Todd show. That was going to be obvious. And I think they were going to take other heroes that weren't on the Titans, but they were just brought up and that can fit that mold of what they want this show to be.
Yeah. I mean, I remember there was rumors even when Titans got announced. It was like, well, why don't we put Wally West from the Flash show on there? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if he'll fit the tone of what they're going for.
We got to keep in mind, the Titans wasn't created for DC Universe.
Like, was TNT? It was for TNT. Yeah, it was for TNT, wasn't it? Yeah, TNT. Yeah.
It was created for TNT. It wasn't created for DC Universe.
Which it does feel like a TNT show, really watching it and stuff.
So that means technically we've had a mini streaming service come out with all shows that are, none of them are technically geared to that streaming service.
It was just money thrown into it and stuff. So.
Yeah, they're at this point, they're using DC Universe as a testing ground. What can we get away with? The only show that fit Titans and tone was Swamp Thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But anyways, this was a good chat to have and stuff. This was definitely a long time coming. We gotta do this again sometime. But appreciate you guys jumping in on this. I'll put the links to you guys' respective outlets down in the comments below and stuff. And we definitely been kind of pushing through this pandemic. There's like no movies. Like the last movie I reviewed was the Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie. He was the pilot.
Oh my gosh! You talking about 7,500?
Yeah, I was gonna put up the review that I did for the Steve Carell movie that was that Jon Stewart directed. I actually need to put that up. That was actually a pretty funny movie. But yeah, that was the last movie that I did. It's been kind of slow because I even asked some of the people like, so us critics, are we going to get Tenet on kind of like digital? And she looked at me like, nah, that's not happening, Chief.
Well,
I'm like, come on.
You better start digging into this VOD market, Chris.
I am going to. Actually, no. Time out. I did do The Old Guard, so that's the last new movie I did do. Never mind. I did do that.
Like I still have a review of Inheritance that I'm sitting on. I need to really just finish it, edit it out, and drop it with Simon Pegg. It is a It's horrible. But I
did watch that movie with
in the basement. The entire film because he's the inheritance of a rich girl's father. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But like that, Becky is.
I did watch Becky. That is a wild look. If you told me to do for Kings and Queens,
Becky yet.
Becky, if you told me to do for Kings and Queens for playing a neo-Nazi and he's actually pretty good, it's like, oh shit, like all right,
exactly. Body cam, it wasn't good, but anything where I could watch Murder.
Actually, I did watch it. I did watch a Nigerian. Amazing. I did watch a Nigerian rom-com serious single. That was
hey, man, I can always find movies to watch. Bruce Willis done dropped some VOD movies.
When doesn't he drop a VOD movie, sir?
Mel Gibson was very racist in one VOD movie.
Oh, that's out. That's out. Hold on, time out. That movie's out. The Blue Lives Matter movie's out.
Oh no, Forces of Nature.
Yeah,
that's the Blue Lives Matter movie. Him and the other dude.
It is not the Blue Lives Matter movie. Wait till you see it.
Okay. I will. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna watch it after this recording. I'm gonna watch this now.
Yeah, like I search for those movies because again, it's in a pandemic. You try to search for films that people wouldn't normally see or care. As I say before I review the movie, these are films I would normally watch and would never talk about. Like it's so many movies. I watch over 100 movies a year, and it's a lot of these movies I find, and I just be mesmerized by how either bad they are, or some of them how good they are.
Okay, I'm gonna watch.
It's called Shirley. Check it out.
I'm gonna watch that movie. If I watch it, me and you gotta talk about it because I was waiting for that movie so long. I was like, I gotta see this movie, and I'm like, I gotta watch it. Yeah, I need to watch that.
He is superly offensive in that movie, and I gotta say, excuse my language. I don't cuss on podcasts anymore like I used to.
Dude, we're free. We're good. We're good.
But it's parts of that movie where he's talking to a female cop, and he said, "Bitch, just shut up." And I said, how is this okay for him to say this to her?
Like, that seems like that's typical of Mel Gibson at that point.
It's craziness, and it's a cast that 10 years ago this would have been a blockbuster.
I know Emil Hirsch was in it and stuff.
Earth in it. Emil Hirsch is in it. My guy from Black Lightning's in it. Will Collette is in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It has a cast. It is just super offensive, and it's all led by Mel Gibson, who cusses at everybody in the movie. And this one Spanish woman cop, he just gives her the business. Like it's ridiculous.
When I watch it, I will contact you to talk about. Actually, because me and D and the guys, we have to actually talk about that Kevin Bacon movie that just dropped recently.
So that's what I was about to ask you guys. Have y'all seen that yet?
Me and D watched it. It's ridiculous. That's all I'll say. It is ridiculous.
So somebody said it was good. Was it good?
Look here, the guy who is technically like my editor-in-chief. I literally have the review up on the page. He asked me, "Did I see it?" You talking about?
You should have been. It's like you should have been there. Whatever. Either which way,
I did see it.
It's not great, but it's
okay.
It's like it's a Kevin Bacon thriller. It's not Stir of Echoes good, but it's
it's not a death sentence. What you're saying?
Hell no! Dude, that sentence is great, man. There is
another.
Okay, I was hoping for something like that. That's what I was hoping.
No. It's a horror thriller. That's
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
me and D just cracked up on a lot of the ridiculous stuff that's in that movie.
I watched that the day it came out. Like that's one of the movies that I was anticipating because that was supposed to be released in theaters. That's a
Yeah, it was supposed to be in theaters and stuff, and that was a Blumhouse movie too. That's what I was like, yeah, because D kept saying, yeah, that movie wouldn't have made enough money. I was like, D, that movie was made for like $4 million. That shit would have caked up.
It made 13 million opening weekend and stuff. I think it's critically is not great reviews, but it's good enough for a horror movie.
Yeah, because Blumhouse, they'll make a low budget movie, and they know they're gonna like The Hunt. I think The Hunt was the first time they actually. Well, hold up, was that Blumhouse or was that A24?
No, it was,
Yeah, I think The Hunt was the first time. The Hunt was the first time they. No, The Hunt was Blumhouse. The Hunt was the first time Blumhouse had a movie that really didn't make money for them.
no, it still made money.
It did.
It only cost $3 million to make.
Oh. They made it seem as though it flopped opening weekend, and I was like,
it did compared to other Blumhouse films, but I mean, at this point, you take a movie and make it for $3 million, you're gonna make a profit.
So wait, did The Hunt come out the same day that Invisible Man came out?
Invisible Man was out for like a smooth month, and then The Hunt came out like a week before the pandemic shut everything down. So it got the opening weekend because we went to the screener for it that Monday of that week, and then we did the review, we put it out, and then that opening weekend, I forgot what it went up against opening weekend that it came out, and then that following
weekend, and then that was it.
Yeah, and then the following weekend, that Friday is when the pandemic hit, and they shut everything down that Friday.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
that's
making money anyway. That movie's horrible.
And then like immediately 2 weeks later, they put out The Hunt and Invisible Man on VOD for like $20 to rent. Basically.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So it's a situation of I mean
why you should have left. That's the name of it.
You should have left.
And it's a fitting title for a movie when you're sitting through it. Because you're gonna be like, I should have left. Like I need to sit through this whole
Hey, I took a page from you and I actually drank while watching it, so it got me through it.
Hey, any movie that's bad. I got drunk as hell watching Body Cam because Mary J. Blige attempting to act in a horror movie was.
Dude, everybody said Body Cam was decent. Like they said her acting was actually. They said her acting was decent. It wasn't horrible or anything. It was like.
What quality of black people have you been talking to?
Well, bear in mind. Let me rephrase this. These are white critics that are saying her acting was okay, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter now, so yeah, everybody's good.
Don't say that, but you're right. You're right on that.
You're right. The Bloods was a good movie.
Which movie? Which movie?
The Five Bloods. They fought to say that was a good movie. That is a horrible movie.
No, I'm not gonna say it was horrible. It was okay. I'm not gonna sit. I would say
for a Spike Lee movie or okay for an actual movie. Because
for a Spike Lee movie,
that means it's a bad movie. Like,
hey, look. His worst movie to me is still Chirac. Personally, that movie.
Yeah,
Chirac is Miracle at St. Anna.
I will watch Miracle at St. Anna before I watch Chirac any day of the week.
Spike Lee movie.
Hell, I'll watch fucking the Sweet Blood of whatever the fuck that movie was before I watch Chirac.
Yeah, that's another bad one.
And that's bad. Yeah, that's bad for different reasons because that movie was.
She hate me, but I think I actually enjoyed. She hate me,
dude. The Sweet Blood was trying too hard to be like the original Gajan and Hess, and I'm like, you might as well just watch the original movie if you're gonna do that.
Oh boy, that's the worst Spike Lee movie I've seen.
See, that was too reverent to the original movie. So, that was his shortcomings.
I never even watched that movie because I was like, I don't want to look at Spike a different way.
Here's the problem.
I love the original one.
The problem with Spike Lee's Old Boy is that he was too reverent to it. It was too one for one. Yeah. It was the same way he basically did what Zack Snyder did with Watchmen. You did a lot of one for one shots, but what exactly did you do to elevate it more than the original? Kind of thing, and you didn't really do much.
Which cut of Watchmen are we talking about here?
I would probably say the director's cut on DVD. That was like verbatim with Tales of,
and yet people expected this man to make a solid 2-hour long movie, and they watched the Watchmen and his 18 cuts of that movie and thought he could make a.
That shit did get 2 cuts, didn't it? Yeah, it did.
No, we got 5. It's 5 different cuts of the Watchmen.
Yeah, the theatrical cut. I know it had the fucking the one that I saw that I bought, which is literally the
ultimate cut.
Yeah, the ultimate cut. I got that one. That's the only 2 that I've seen. I didn't know there was others.
It's 5 cuts of The Watchmen.
Jesus.
Because Zack Snyder doesn't like editors, and he will make a movie. But he even admitted it in the interview with Grace. He said it like you're not going to get a short movie from Zack Snyder.
No, you're not.
Also said you're not going to get a good movie from Zack Snyder. But he just
look, 300 and Dawn of the Dead are his magnum opuses to me, and that's the best you're going to get out of him, honestly.
And he was a shooter on both of those projects because Dawn of the Dead was done, and they needed somebody to actually film it. Like he had no input on that.
Hey, I love the shit out of 300, and
when the last time you seen it?
Last year.
And you still like it? That movie is horrible now.
I like 300. I will probably say I'll be honest with you, I actually like the Rise of the Empire a little bit more than 300 though.
Yeah. When you finally realized that Gerard Butler can't act? Because that's what I went through when I watched it.
Oh, dang.
Look, Lucas, I am with Lucas, you're not the only one. Mr. I talk from the side of my mouth in every fucking movie.
I can admit this as a man that is 100% fine with the person he is. Of course, I fell for the abs, and I thought this is a good movie. Like, I fell for that. But when you're watching it, you're like, wait a minute, this is not real.
Lucas, dude, Gerard Butler turned into Chuck Bronson during the Golden Globus years of Death Wish.
Man, look, we are not talking about Gerald Butler after Geostorm. That whole experience I had with y'all,
again, me and D said it best. Gerard Butler had to pay off his car note with that movie because, dear God, he was trying to make that movie his.
The only person I've seen try harder was Judi Dench and Artemis Fowl. Like, that's the only thing.
Hey, first off, Judi Dench puts her 100% in any goddamn movie.
She should get an Oscar nomination for what she does in Artemis Fowl. Because she sounds like the Cookie Monster through the entire movie. And I mean, like, literally, like, ooh, me want cookie. Like, that's the voice she uses in that entire movie.
Dude, Judi Dench puts 100% effort in every movie, good or bad.
Hey,
God bless her.
She put 100% in that piece of garbage.
And she didn't need to. She could have coasted in that movie as I'm Judi Dench. Fuck you.
She didn't need to be in that movie. No one did. No one who's in that movie should have been in that movie.
You know why she's in that movie? If that movie came out in theaters, it's because you went to go see Judi Dench. It was for nobody else in that movie.
I'm just confused. They spent no. That's a great book. It's a great book.
I heard it was a great book.
It's a great book, and Disney ruined it because they just took out all the subtleties that's in that book and said we're gonna try to make a Harry Potter ripoff somehow, some way.
I don't know why they do that. Every studio tends to do that. It's like you don't have to Harry Potter to just let the material do what it did. I mean, hell, fucking was it what the hell is that movie with fucking
Narnia? We started with Narnia.
No, not Narnia, but the fucking what the hell was the movie with the chick where they can was adjacent whatever the fuck those movies were, the young adult movies. Divergent. Those movies just did not make sense as it kept going.
3 of them. It was just about a 4th one. I said, Jesus Christ.
No, they didn't do a 4th one. Remember, they were supposed to do a 4th one, and then they said it was going to be a TV show, and then they want to do another one.
I thought they even dropped a TV show.
What? No, they said they were going to do a TV show, and then now they're saying they might do a movie.
Wasn't Divergent. I'm talking about Maze Runner.
Oh, yeah, Maze Runner. They were supposed to do a TV show. Divergent. They were going to do a TV movie to finish it all off with the same cast.
We went to a screener of the 3rd one of Divergent, and we walked out saying this movie is horrible.
The Divergent series did not.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I'm like, so do these people got special powers? I don't understand.
They have no powers to be different from everyone else and not to have any powers.
At least Maze Runner had a catch, like, oh, there was a virus. All right, cool. But Divergent, I'm like, is there a virus? With these people got special powers? What's going on here?
And the whole time you're wondering, what does it mean that she's divergent? And you realize it means nothing. It means absolutely nothing.
God, man, I gotta rewatch those movies because those movies made no sense. That's why I feel bad for Zoe Kravitz. I'm like, why are you in this movie, Zoe? You're the token black chick. Why?
Act either. So it makes sense for her to be in those type of movies.
I actually liked her in High Fidelity too, man.
Did you like the way she looked?
I liked the show. I did like the show. I did like how she looked, but I did no me and Nigel were talking about that, right? We didn't record. That's funny.
I only likes because she looks that way. Like,
no, I know. I called Nigeria out on that when we were talking online about that, and I was like, but taking that out of the equation, did you like the show? He's like, yeah, I like the show. I was like, all right, because I did like the show. I think it worked, and I think it worked because it was her acting off of other people in that cast.
Yeah.
So it worked. If you put her by herself carrying a movie, no, she can't carry a movie. And there's plenty of actors and actresses in Hollywood that can't carry a movie by themselves.
I don't even think she can do good in the supporting role. Like, I saw Big Little Lies, and she was on there with heavy hitters, and boy, she just became background material.
She was the token black chick in that show. Dude.
So wait, so you're saying that it's a bad idea they casted her as Catwoman then?
I said that from the day that they put her in that damn movie.
She could be good.
No business being in Cat.
She could be good. Maybe.
My issue is Catwoman is a character that can be great.
Put it this way, she ain't beating out Michelle Pfeiffer, but she'll beat out Halle Berry. That's a low bar with that.
Not about to come on now.
That's a low bar at that. So,
but you're acting opposite Robert Pattinson,
and even then,
you could have gotten someone who could have killed it as Catwoman to play opposite him.
Hell, actually, time out. Fucking homegirl from Batman Dark Knight Rises that played Catwoman was good.
But didn't Janelle Monáe wanted to be Catwoman?
Yeah, she was. It was her.
She was one of the finalists for it.
Yeah, it was her and Zoe Kravitz, and they went with Zoe Kravitz because I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna say colorism. Just a little bit.
If you had Janelle Monáe in there with Robert Pattinson, dude.
Because are y'all watching that movie that she's on, that show on Amazon Prime? Yeah, Antebellum. She's good in that.
Oh, no. Homecoming.
Yeah, Homecoming. She's actually really good.
Season 2. She's in season 2.
Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Replaced Julia Roberts' character, really.
Yeah. And hey, look, she's gonna be good in Antebellum when that movie drops. That's gonna be good.
When does that come out?
It got delayed. It was supposed to come out this year, but it got delayed.
I thought it still was coming out this year.
Hold on, wasn't it an October release?
Yeah, I think it's still coming out.
So it might be okay. So it might still be sticking to its October release then. If that's the case.
That's A24, right?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a small budget movie that's time travel. So I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah, because Blumhouse pulled Candyman, so you have room.
Candyman's dropping when?
Next year now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they pulled it already.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again,
throw Candyman on Black History Month. It'll be good.
I said when she was hired as I was about to call her Batwoman. As Catwoman,
I'm gonna say colorism because light skin, dark skin. Yeah, we'll go with the light skin.
I think it's because Zoe has the look. I ain't even gonna lie. Zoe looks.
She has a look.
She looks like she could be Catwoman. She just doesn't act like it. So that was my issue.
It has to be up to the director to get that out of her, but she has to kind of be up there too.
Janelle Monáe may have outacted Robert Pattinson, and you got to be very careful with that.
That is true.
We talked about that it may have been like, okay, would they have been focused more on her than him? Yeah. Like, what is the central focus of like? Because you got even like the dude they got for the Riddler. I was like, he's a great actor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like. I think that Matt Reeves chose that for a reason, because I was like, it didn't make sense initially. I was like, why wouldn't you get?
Think about Zoe Kravitz in a Catwoman costume.
Makes sense.
Pretty dope looking. She looks really good.
Yeah, the look of the aesthetic looks great.
Think about Janelle Monáe in a Catwoman costume.
It would look pretty dope too.
No. It would look fucking sick. And no one would be
sick in a good way or sick in a bad way.
Yes. No. Sick in the best way.
That's what I said. Why do you think I said it would look dope? Why do you think I said it would look dope? I'm just saying. It's just
no. That's what I said. Zoe looks dope because she got the like things ain't poking out everywhere on Zoe Kravitz. Yeah. They're proportionate small.
Yeah, it's proportional. It's like the cartoon series. It's like, all right.
Janelle, come on, man. We know.
You know, it's Janelle Monáe. It'll be like putting an IG model in a fucking skin tight suit.
Back to putting Eartha Kitt in a Catwoman costume.
No, it's like
pay attention to Batman.
Look. I saw an IG model put on the fucking Spider-Gwen suit, and I'm like, oh yeah, you would never have a black chick looking like that in Spider-Gwen.
Hey,
No.
and that's the issue. But to me, you still go with the best actress. I would have hired her over Zoe, but
You're not the casting director, unfortunately. That would have.
Unfortunately, I'm not. I would have.
Yeah, I mean,
it was so many choices they could have made. Give my guy. Damn, I always forget his. Jonah Hill should have been cast.
Bruh, I'm still blown by that. I feel like that was a money thing, bro. Ain't no way.
Strictly a money thing.
Ain't no way, bro.
He freaking killed it, Joe. Like,
yeah.
It makes no sense. Like
because even now they're talking about the fact that they want to have spin-off movies for the villains. Yeah, they have to. And I'm like,
I don't think they should do that, but I mean, to be honest with you, that would have been something where if you're going to spin off your villains, put them in Suicide Squad in a capacity. If you're going to do that,
because Suicide Squad is more lighthearted though. You want Joker-esque type spinoffs.
Okay,
things of that nature.
Yeah,
or like what Sony's been doing. Like I would want to do that with my villains. Because then it takes away the need to introduce you in a movie.
I mean, because Catwoman,
own movie.
I mean, Catwoman works as a
Catwoman but Catwoman's not necessarily only a villain.
She's an anti-hero, basically. That's all she is.
Like she could be good and bad, but the rest of them are just bad. There are no redeeming qualities in most of the other Batman.
Mr. Freeze is maybe your closest to a Joker thing, where you might find some speckle of redemption with them, maybe.
Yeah, but you're not going to find it in the Riddler.
No.
Like so those would be dark movies or great things.
Clayface.
I
forgot about Clayface. Clayface is another one that's kind of like, yeah.
I think that Clayface honestly should have been like in a Suicide Squad situation, but
nah, he's too. If you watch Batman the animated series, that's a character that's tragic as hell. Like you got to like play that.
Wait to the fandom thing and see what exact because it's
that's coming up, ain't it?
Yeah,
that's 22nd.
And there's a lot of characters in James Gunn's Suicide Squad.
Oh, I appreciate the fact that he checked his website that claims some stuff about Suicide Squad. And he's like, yeah, as much as sites, and he even admitted as much as these sites get lucky on certain things, a lot of these sites reporting about Suicide Squad know nothing. And that's the biggest thing he's been pushing. It's like, look, you got your pictures of us on set. That's cool, but you don't know the actual story. You really don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what Idris Elba is because everybody keeps saying, "Oh, Idris Elba's Deadshot." And he's like, "No, he's not."
But no, that's already been confirmed. He is not Deadshot.
Yeah, he's Tigers.
No, but
not Tigers, but
Bronze Tiger.
Yeah, Bronze Tiger. Yeah.
But you still got some sites that are still kind of acting as though, it's a facade. And I'm like, no,
nigga, they still got Will Smith under contract.
Yeah. No, that's it's just
him out that contract.
It's just like the MC. It's just like MCU with old boy that played Quicksilver. He's still collecting money from Marvel because he's under a contract with them still.
Like Will Smith ain't going nowhere, especially now that he is hot as fish grease.
Oh yeah,
he ain't going nowhere. Bad Boys 3 was Bad Boys 3.
Oh, that injected it. That put an injection in. Like, oh shit,
it was too big of a hit. It's going to go down as the top grossing movie of this year. Like,
hey, look,
Bad Boys?
Yeah.
Hey, don't let him. Hey, don't let
Bad Boys 3 and his entanglement. Look here, you keep him under contract.
Hey, listen. Don't let Universal get an idea to try to put the Bad Boys universe inside the Fast universe. Woo!
That was already discussed.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
At the beginning of the year, it was talked about. Around the time when Bad Boys came out, because Bad Boys 4 is already being made. Yeah. And then there was the talk about trying to combine Bad Boys with the Fast universe.
Because that could work. It fits.
It's cops in Miami, and then you do Vin Diesel coming in town, and
hey,
perfect match.
Will Smith's illegitimate son, when he brings him that mission, like, yeah, we might be able to get you out of jail if you do this mission.
Hey, you need to go undercover.
Exactly.
Like it's written already.
Let me tell you something. If you give me Fast 10 and you get Martin Lawrence, fucking old ass popping up in there, fucking banter.
Martin don't need to do nothing else.
No. I'm not saying Martin Lawrence got to be part of the crew, but just have him in there as like the fucking like the on the computer or some shit, just bantering and shit. Don't even put him in there. Just have him bantering and shit. Done. I'm in there. Fuck it. I'm there.
Hey, it was again. It's been talks about it. Clearly, Universal loves combining things.
Because Fast 9, people are forgetting. Fast 9 is gonna be huge, fucking huge.
Man, that movie, I forgot that movie was even being released.
That's because they pushed it back to 2021, right?
Yeah, they pushed it immediately. They pushed it back.
John Cena is going to have a big ass 2021 Suicide Squad and Fast 9. That dude going to be huge. Like, he already good as is, but you got 2 blockbuster movies that's, yeah.
Wait, who is he playing in Suicide Squad?
That's an awesome question, and
that's a question that nobody knows.
Like literally, they have really held back a lot of.
They initially said he was supposed to play fucking old boy's character in the first movie until he came back. It was like, I guess he isn't that character anymore.
All right. Captain Boomerang, and then Captain Boomerang came back.
Yeah, so now we don't know who he is. It's like,
it's like, well, who the hell is he playing in this movie?
Exactly.
And then Marco is still in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a huge new cast along with some of the old cast,
which is it fits the Suicide Squad motif. They always keep some old people and then they bring in new people.
It's Amanda Waller.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
that was a big win right there.
I mean, look at
her back was a big win.
I mean, look at the last Suicide Squad cartoon. How many of the people from the original movie popped up in that one? It was just Deadshot, Harley, and Captain Boomerang. That's it. Everybody else was like new, and so it made sense.
If they attempt to connect it. Which superhero do you connect it to the best? The new Batman?
Possibly.
But how can you connect it to the new Batman when we just saw them fight the old Batman?
Well, Catwoman would be the inroads for it, but that would be it.
Hey, don't be surprised if Ben magically pops up again as Batman.
Don't tease me like that.
I really wouldn't be surprised because
I'd be surprised if he pops up again as Batman.
Dude, they would have to pay that fee to
King's thing
to get him back.
No, he's still under contract with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Oh, they still paying him?
Yeah, Ben has kind of an exclusive contract with Warner Brothers. Like there is no need for them to pay him.
Hold up, is it more than just the comic book movies, or is it just
all movies come out with Warner Brothers?
Oh, so the last movie that he did, the basketball movie, was under Warner Brothers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't even pay attention to what studio he came
because of his writing. He had a writing deal with Warner Brothers, writing and producing deal with Warner Brothers. So he stepped away from doing the Batman movie. That don't mean they can't talk him into coming back and like, hey, we got the Suicide Squad thing. Robert Pattinson cannot fight them yet until Flashpoint happens. So we need you to like be a threat or something that's Bruce Wayne in this movie.
Come in for a couple of scenes, might do some hand-to-hands a little bit.
Exactly. After I watched the ultimate cut of BVS and saw the damage, he's way too big to play Batman. That's the first thing that popped into my head.
Too big, or like, are you talking in terms of like his the way he looks too big kind of thing?
Ben Affleck is 6'4", 250.
Yeah, he's huge.
And when you see him fight,
he is my height.
That scene where he goes into the warehouse and stands and he manhandle. If Batman was that big, it would be unfair to lots of people.
So I think they need to go. So they definitely need to go like Christian Bale, but have him still be out there doing the same shit that he did in BVS.
There you go, Robert Pattinson, same size.
So no, my thing is this. Before we go, do you think that they might have Rob Pattinson doing the same type of fighting that Ben Affleck did in BVS?
It's the way they have his armor set up. It's going to be way more street fighting.
Because I kind of like the BVS.
Are you talking about
Pattinson? Rob, Pattinson.
It's going to be way more like street fighting because he's still at this point. He's supposed to be learning how to be Batman.
So it's year one, probably. Yeah, it's like year one, ain't it?
He's learning how to be Batman.
Oh, okay.
With Ben, it got to the point where he was like murder Batman. Like it's a scene in the ultimate cut of BVS where the dude shoots him in his head.
No, I saw it. I saw that. I was like, oh shit.
Get the fuck out. Like he gets stabbed in the movie and nothing phases him.
I mean, that's typical Batman because it was quote unquote armor, but you know,
he's the size of a fucking linebacker taking on little guys.
I mean, I think it's just gonna be one of those things where people are gonna watch this Batman movie and they're gonna wish that Batman was kind of like that, and it's like, oh shit, you're right, it is year one Batman, so it's like fuck.
Or you're gonna get the detective Batman, which is the Batman that most people want the most right now. Is detective Batman.
Yeah,
like, we've seen brutal fighting Batman. Batman been brutally fighting people for years. Like you need, where's the smarts? Where's the world's greatest detective of Batman?
So basically, take the Nolan.
We ain't never seen that in live action.
We saw it in one scene. We saw it in one scene. We saw it in one scene in a Dark Knight, and the scene still confuses me to this day.
Oh, the thing with the gun, he shoot the gun into the concrete.
That scene still confuses me to this day. What exactly was he trying to figure out there?
I don't know. That was their movie's way of trying to do it was like detective vision. Let's do this, and it's like, all right, cool.
Shoot it in here, and then we're gonna get a mold of the bullet, and then we're gonna know. And I'm like, okay, you did all of that to get a fingerprint.
Hey, Nolan did that shit to be like, all right, guys, you got your detective shit. You happy now? All right. Oh man, this was fun. So we gotta do this again. But anyways, thank you guys for joining in, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace out.
Later, y'all.